Okay guys, this interview is with Shane O'Connor, a former Liverpool, Ipswich, Port Vale and numerous clubs in Ireland, of course Shamrock Rovers, Portadown, Limerick, Cove Ramblers, Waterford. This is an incredible story of a guy that I suppose had so many highs and lows in football, and of course obviously he's struggling right now. Obviously of course there's I suppose he speaks openly about his gambling addictions and such. This interview, hopefully it will inspire many others to kind of come forward if they do have issues, seek help. Shane's a great guy, I've followed his journey for many years. A fantastic player who no doubt should have been playing in the Premier League, a lot of injuries kind of at the wrong time. And I suppose the gambling addiction as well obviously tattered his career as a footballer, but he's so young, so many positive years ahead, and Shane's a great guy. He's got a lot of things going from him. So we hope you enjoyed this interview. It's quite long. It's a fantastic chat. It was a really enjoyable experience, and we wish Shane all the best. He's a great guy yet again, and yet again, from everyone at Sports Matters TV, Shane, thank you for reaching out, and hopefully this will inspire many others that have gone through the similar pattern, and hopefully it'll help many ex-footballers and people in general, and that there is help there. So thank you very much.
These videos are brought to you by MSCCasino.com and the Macau Sporting Club. MSCCasino.com, check it out.
You are watching Sports Matters TV.
Okay guys, welcome to Sports Matters TV. We are in Cove for an absolute special, and we are at Kelly's Bar. Yet again, we are joined by the one and only Shane O'Connor, a man I'd watched his career for many years. Personally, Shane, you should still be playing. I'll always say that, but listen, you know that yourself. So look, we're just here to talk obviously about your career and what you're up to now, but obviously it's been, I suppose when you look back from an early age to now, you've done so much, signed by Roy Keane, signing for Liverpool, playing with Ipswich, having big moves tarnished by clubs, having a spat with a certain manager, obviously playing with some of the top clubs in Ireland, Shamrock Rovers, Cork City, having everything at your feet really. And I suppose you've had injuries. There's been I suppose in reality, when you're working in Ireland and you have a job, sometimes the job is better than playing football. Family comes first. But let's talk about the early days first, right? So being a Cork man, how did it all start for you, bud?
Yeah, I was probably lucky enough. My mum bumped into a fella in work and to bring him out to Rockmount Park, and out there, that was where I learned anything down the bog before there was any pitches. Down that bottom pitch there, we had tournaments, we had coaches, we were out there every Sunday morning. That's where I still have fond memories actually of that time, believe it or not. I remember a tournament they played under 8s. It was my first ever trophy. It was like a Glass Player of the Year under 8. I'd never forget it. It was unbelievable, to get a trophy, because you wouldn't think it at that age, And Rockmount Park was where I probably spent the majority of my years, maybe one or two away growing up.
Yeah.
But I was very lucky because we had very good coaches. Barry Kelleher, who's still involved out in Rockmount, he was always very good to us. He probably had us for a lot of my years there. We had a good group of players. We stayed together throughout the whole time when I was there. And I was very lucky, where you see a lot of people now with kids these days where I do stuff where I work with players, but what I always say is I just try and paint a picture in their head, so when they play, that they can have various different outcomes to go and have different when they go one-on-one, can they have different sort of step overs or turns, or if it's defending, can they show to people. But I always say, when you're playing in the moment, you have to be able to make your own mind up and play the game you see, because when you get football, you play football because you enjoy football. Where a lot of people now seem to be getting coached into a position at a very young age.
Yeah.
Where I was very lucky growing up, where I was allowed to express myself. And I always think you have to give people pictures in their mind of what they want to do, or give them different alternatives. But at the end of the day, they have to be able to express themselves.
Of course.
And I was very, very lucky that from the club I was at, that I was able to go and express myself, and they let me, maybe looking back now, they wouldn't have given someone so much freedom, playing in the middle of the park. They let me go where I want, get on the ball and play. So I was very lucky. Rockmount is, it was a great club for me growing up. I was very lucky. Again, I suppose what I was very, very lucky with though was probably the Gas side, Peartree, because that was my childhood. Percy,
Yeah.
like I mean, well, I actually was kind of back and forward a little bit with Ga, 'cause soccer. I went young, but Ga I didn't start till maybe I was 10. Properly where I stayed in it, and that was the thing, because we trained twice a week. We matches all the time. Soccer we weren't really training soccer. Like my memories are, I was a GA 2 times a week. I was actually playing the year above the other days. It was all GA, and if I didn't have a GA background, I probably wouldn't have made it anywhere at all. And Pershik were phenomenal to me. I mean, like, you know, I suppose everyone says that about their club. To be fair, if you're in a GA club,
they're a good club. To be
but
fair,
they were unbelievable to me. We had a coach, Ted Moynihan, who was there from the day I left. Day I started, and the day I left, my first ever game out in Stars in hurling. And when I left, obviously to move to England, he was still involved with the team until they finished to go minor. Like he gave up 8-9 years of his life.
I know
like
Ted well. He coached.
Like,
It's
like, I know his son Owen was involved. Like, but you know, he for a coach, we had other coaches there as well. Like, but he was the one who actually was with us from the start. Like, but the Pershik were unbelievable to me. I remember when I was on, I think it was under 13s, 14s Kennedy Cup year, I actually done my knee up at the Cork Schoolboys training. Obviously we were at the Fail with Pershik. We were going up to the All Ireland, and I done my knee in about March time, and it was bad. I couldn't walk at all, like, and it was inflamed out. And Cork Schoolboys, Cork Schoolboys, just turned a blind eye to it. And Pershik were the ones who put me in physio, got me better, and got me back playing. And if they didn't do that, I don't know what I was going to do, you know. They didn't have to do it. I didn't hurt it with them. But they got me down to the physio down in Blackpool, and she looked after me unbelievably well. And, you know, they were the ones that put the time and effort into me. Unfortunately, I suppose my thing was, if I always made it big, they would have been the ones I would have looked after if it was possible. You know, it's probably...
No, but I think they know that, and I'm glad you mentioned Ted. I know Ted well. I remember playing with Sunnyswell School, and Owen was a year below us. And his dad would always be at the games too, and he'd be the umpire there for some of the games. And like we've often, like, I remember the boys put a ball over the bar, and Ted would be there. What wasn't the point? But he's a passionate man. Like, could understand, like, having a guy like Ted there to kind of guide you from a young age is definitely something that will benefit you no matter what. And like, obviously in the Pershik being a great club, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so many rivals there with Vincent's and all, and outside clubs, it's great. But it's definitely the milestone that sets you for the next stage. Like you mentioned, Kennedy Cup. Like, I suppose for the viewers don't watch, like they know the Kennedy Cup is huge. Like, that's like a big step up from, like, you know, when you're playing with a club and, you know, you do Kennedy. Like, I know John Egan's done it, he always praises it. Ogden Benny done the Kennedy Cup. Like, yourself, obviously that's a big thing, and it's a big stepping stone to the next factor. Like,
well, I suppose that's what kind of took me to the next phase, because when you get to that age, you're, you know, obviously you're playing soccer and GAN, they're clashing, because when we did Kennedy Cup and the failure were actually within a couple of weeks of each other. So it was kind of the consensus growing up, because there wasn't this academy football with Cork City and Cove Ramblers the way they have that now. That wasn't around back then. So it was, you either got picked up in the Kennedy Cup, or, you know, you're not going to play professional football. That was the consensus. That was what you know, everyone believed. So my Kennedy Cup journey wasn't great, because obviously when I had my knee injury beforehand, but kind of our coach would have been very Southside minded. And I was a Northsider. I think there was only 2 of us from the Northside on it, as far as I remember, maybe 3. On the whole team, like, so it was very, very Southside minded. Corinthians, you know,
and politics as well, like,
I would have, back then I would have been probably, you know, I would have been with the stronger one, in my own mind anyway. Maybe not, because when I played up in the Kennedy Cup I done well. But I got injured in the quarter final against North Dublin, and I came on the semi and I didn't play the final. We lost to DDSL in the final. Otherwise we would have been the team to beat the lads a couple of years ago to win it. But look, I couldn't get out there fast enough. I was done. So after the Kennedy Cup, I still played for Rockmount for the next year, but then I started to get into the GA. I was playing for Cork and hurling. So at the end of that year, which would have been my third year doing my junior cert in school, I suppose the decision was that I was going to stop playing soccer and concentrate in hurling, because that's what I was probably training at all the time. I was putting all my effort into that, as in, like, we weren't training soccer, it was all GA. I was doing well in GA, I was playing for GA. I just won a Munster final under, which would have been 15, I think. So I done well. I think I got 1-3 in the final, so I was buzzing. I only got about 1-7 in the tournament, but 1-3 was in the final. So look, I was happy, like, so that's where I was kind of getting pushed towards. My dad would have been a big Pershing man, so
was he anti-soccer, like football?
No, I'll tell you a story. It was funny. It was always growing up. He always had this, which I always thought was very good. I try and instill in people as well, where no matter what age it was, whether it was 11, 12, 13, 14s, if I So if I was clashing with soccer and GA,
Yeah.
and they were clashing the same day, I would have to make the call to the coach to tell him I wasn't going.
Right.
So I remember one time I had a GA match on a Friday night, but we were having a tournament on the Saturday out in the bars. The bars used to run a tournament, hurling football one every year, and I had a soccer match as well. But we actually lost the Gaelic football game the night before, and I said, I'm going to the soccer match. I'm not going to the GA tournament.
Yeah.
So it was one of them where I always picked the GA because I think it was just because a lot of the lads were going there. But this time I said, no, I'm picking soccer.
Yeah.
He said, try again. So it was up to me as long as I picked the GA. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So, but I ended up going to the football tournament. It was actually the football one. I was actually captain on the day, so maybe he knew that, and we won it. But I always thought it was a nice touch because he instilled in me, you ring the coach and tell him you won't be there for this match.
And that was a big thing, Shane. I remember, like, in Cork alone, it's a cliche, like, when in Cork you're always going to have good lads that play soccer on the GA team.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of lads were playing with Cove Ramblers now, like, you'd have Anthony Fenton, and I remember John O'Sullivan, and there was Alan King. They were all on our GA team, like, but sure, they were missing half the time playing soccer with Cove, like, or I think it would have been New Farm or Maymount at the time, but, like, it's a cliche in Cork, and like, you had a banter then, and you'd be out on a Sunday, like, you might go up to the local club, like, and everyone's like, oh, he missed the game, and the coaches then, the banter's unreal, like, and it's sad.
Like, I knew lads now that went the other way with, though, because I suppose I would have been, I had very good coaches. The group we had, lads, like, were phenomenal, to be fair. Like, we were very, very close when we played. But, like, I know lads in years above us, and, like, the coach, like, they were like, pick one.
Yeah.
Like, they were cornering lads saying pick one, and that was driving them out the door then, you know.
Yeah.
Where I suppose the coaches we had with Ted and people like that, they knew how to manage, and they knew look like we'll be there, or if there was something. I remember my mum picking, because there was so many of us on my GA team that played for the same soccer team. Like Ian McDonald now and people like that. So, like, I remember we were playing out a soccer match one day, and at half time we left, and I remember saying, like, Ian, like, we need to get as many goals up here as we can. So me and him, we'll go up top. So we left 3-0 up. We thought, right, I got 2, Ian got 1. I thought we'll be okay here. But 5 was left. Next thing, what was scored? Then again, we lost 5-3. I was like, you know, like, but we were legging it at half time to then go to a GA match. Like, obviously, we were lucky to have parents that were able to do it, and things like, you know. But GA was a huge thing for me. Yeah. So that then after the Kennedy Cup, I was going to stick with GA because I believed that was where I was going to, you know, make some sort. Because obviously playing the highest level you can, that I thought GA or hurling would have been the one. And then my mum, for some reason, put me into a summer camp out in the farm, a Liverpool-run summer camp, and I didn't know anyone out there. She just put me in it. It wasn't like I was going with my buddies. She just like, go out there. Now I knew lads from playing against them with Gaz and Wilton and stuff. I think it was in association with Wilton. So I went out to the farm and I done a summer camp. It was just a camp. There was actually no person to win anything and go over, or there was no trials to come of it. Because I remember I done I done a skills camp when I was 9, a Man United skills camp, and I won it. And the prize was to go over and do all the winners from all the other countries go over to Man United the following April and do the tournament over there. Yeah. I remember they brought me, my mum and dad went over to a match and we done the tournament. I was horrific in the one over there though. I still remember to this day, I couldn't solo ball. It was like solo in and they were shooting. It was horrific. Yeah. But it wasn't anything like that. It was just literally just a camp, because they did run it, I think, the year before, and they've done it a few years after. But the difference, I suppose, back then with that camp was they had actual coaches from the academy come over and do it, where nowadays it's actually people in the local community run the summer camps. It's not actually the net of the academy coaches. Yeah. So I done the camp and I thought nothing of it. About, I suppose, 3 or 4 weeks later, my mum called me in from the first park there in Parklands and said, "Look, we're on the phone there, do you want to go for a trial?" I thought, winding me up, like, you know, like, but you know, it was serious. They said, "Look, you want to go over?" It was September for 3 days. It's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
So really.
That was kind of the start of, I suppose, a whirlwind year, I suppose the best way I can put it. Because the camp was association with Wilton, they kind of hoodwinked, is the word I will use, into me playing for them for that last year.
As they do.
Which, it's always one of my little regrets because I didn't really want to do it. But look, I went there. Now, in fairness to them, there was training every week, but it wasn't training. I think the way they sold it was that there was going to be training to benefit me. Yeah. It wasn't though. Like, it was just a general training session. Now, we didn't mind. I enjoyed the coaches and the lads out there, but I wasn't playing with my buddies for one last year. It was
hard, isn't it?
It was a different.
It's hard, you know. Yeah. Did you play against them? Yeah.
Played against them in a cup game. The following April, I got the winner.
yeah. That happens, mate.
It was
just celebrate, obviously.
No, I gave it to
Cool
under 15 whatever. I still gave it to Cool.
Yeah. Jesus, people are probably still talking about that.
It was. I remember because I was in school in the week to build up to it. Like I was in fourth year at the time. Like, and there was lads in my class I was playing against. I was actually one of probably my most enjoyable games. Well, as in the build up to it, because I was like, I couldn't wait for it. I think it was midweek as well.
Yeah.
And the way it felt to me, it came back post. I still remember the goal. 5 foot into the top corner. I was buzzing. 2-1. Because obviously it stayed all post. They were all like, "Get you, we're gonna," you know what I mean. But luckily we got over them on the day. Like, I think it was one of my last games actually I played before I left, because I missed, because I was playing Earn at the time then. There was a lot of games and I was away a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like going back to the trial, I went over on a Tuesday, and I remember there was a lad, Arthur, his name was over there. One of the most brilliant men I've ever met as regards to people. If you want to meet someone, you go to a football club. It was him. He was phenomenal. He was in his 70s, lifelong Liverpool fan, probably done a lot with the club with regards of chauffeuring people around. Just unbelievable ambassador for the academy side anyway, I always thought. But I would have thought I'd get picked up here now in Marseille. He's going to be knocked on her. Yeah. Well, I got into a 77 Renault something or other. I thought, why am I getting brought to a different club here? What? It was just his car. He actually did get Mercedes a couple of years later for all the drivers, but at the time it was probably a bit more low key.
Vintage,
So he brought me down to the training ground. Obviously I didn't know what to expect, because I've never been involved in this situation. Like, I was never on a trial and didn't really know what to expect. Never knew anyone on a trial. So I got there, and it was a Tuesday night, and he goes, "There's a sandwich in the thing there." It was brilliant. He goes, "Oh, you're playing Man United in a couple of hours."
Jesus Christ.
So I was there going like, what's going on here? Like, obviously I would have been a United supporter growing up before I went to England, so I was like, this is surreal. So I played United that night in the friendly game. Then the Wednesday I was in training with the under-18s academy team, kind of looking around, and I kind of fell in a bit of shooting. Penalties, I didn't do the whole session with them. Because I was still only kind of new. And then I trained with my own team on the Wednesday night. And then on Thursday I trained again with the older group and flew home. And obviously then they said, "Look, we'd like to come back for another trial." So I think it was about 2 weeks later I came back for the same thing again, another 3 days. That went well again. And then they said, "Look, we'd like you to come back a third time, but it would be for the week, so that you'll go and play on the weekend in Blackburn," was the away game. So I was like, yeah, absolutely perfect. So I went, and I done all the training for the week. It was, like you're over there in Liverpool, like it's,
so really,
like you've got all the lads are in school. I'm over in Liverpool here, every day training, like in academy, like we're playing pool. Like, I don't know, like Jay Sparing now would have been part of that academy team, say the year above me, so I would have been involved with them that week. Like, obviously I would have been shy, I wouldn't have been getting in amongst them, like, but they would have been the group that I was there with. And so by the time the end of the week came, we went and played Blackburn. Look, done well in the game, and they said, look, when I got back to the training ground after the Blackburn game, they just said, "Look, would you like to sign?" I was like, yeah, but the problem I had was that Leicester were actually driving up to collect me to bring me down to them for a trial, and I'd never actually gone anywhere else. So I was like, I really wanted to go to there. So again, I suppose that the inexperience of myself, me not knowing anybody, having no one involved in football, really hurt me in this situation, because I didn't get enough out of what I should have. So Dave Shannon, who again now would have been an unbelievable person, and obviously he's employed by Liverpool Football Club to do the best for them at the time. But what a coach, what an unbelievable man. He said, "Look, what we'll offer you is a 2-year scholar." I didn't know what difference. I just knew they were offering me a thing to go and play football in Liverpool. Didn't have a clue what it meant. So I wasn't involved with the Irish team at the time yet. So I was like, "Yeah," but he goes, "You have to promise me you won't go this Leicester. I'll ring him, tell him you're not going." I was like, I kind of feel bad, man's driving from Leicester, but I was 14 or 15 at the time. I was like, "Look, yeah, okay." So he rang your man and said, "No, he's gonna whatever here." And I think remember the fella ringing my mum saying, like, "This is a mistake." Obviously, he goes, "You have to, maybe go and have a look somewhere else. Like, do not." And he was completely right, 100% right. But I'd obviously give my commitment to Liverpool. But once I'd then gone, say I was signing for Liverpool, all of a sudden Ireland then are in. Gone up for a trial with Ireland. I think I scored 2 up in the AUL, and I was all of a sudden then in the Irish setup. And I still didn't have any conversations about contracts with any of the lads, because it hadn't come up at the time. I hadn't been away enough trips. But all of a sudden, because I'd been with Ireland now, I think it was Arsenal, Chelsea, Wolves. I had all sorts coming.
Yeah.
But because I'd probably give my word
To Liverpool.
and I think Chelsea offered money.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I was like, what do they offer money for? I couldn't understand it, but I remember parents' time were like, Liverpool gave the opportunity. There was no one else. Only for them, this wouldn't have happened. I was like, yeah, fair enough. And look, it's Liverpool.
And a big club.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
a
it's
big
not.
club.
It's Liverpool. Like.
Yeah.
So I was happy. I Stephen Highway came over in the Kingsley, and I signed my contract probably in February.
Yeah.
And I signed my contract, and I think it was the next week we went to Israel with the Irish team, and it was my first proper trip. Everything else was kind of local in Ireland and just the well for a day here and there. So it was my first proper trip. We went to Israel, and I remember being over there, and I remember speaking to a couple of lads going away. I was like, and what's the story with contracts? No, Ian Daly, now a lad who went to Man City, and Conor McCormack, who was over at Man United. Like, they were my Irish team.
Ex-City player Conor as well.
Conor, Galway now. Like,
yeah.
So I was kind of like just saying, like, what's the story with contracts? Mikey Collins, a lad who was actually going to Liverpool with me, I asked him what's the contract? He was 1 year scholar, 2 year pro. I was like, what does that mean? Like, you know,
it's pretty hard to understand it because, like, as you said,
what's his 1 year? Like, I have 2 years, and he was like no, get 3. Like, he goes like, you're coming from Ireland, like, it's like a general thing. You get your 3 years, like 1 year scholar, 2 year pro, or at the clubs that would have been, say, in the Championship or whatever, would have been a 2 year scholar and then the 1 year pro because they would have kept you on lower money. Now your first year pro at Liverpool would have been maybe 300 or 400 because when you go over on a scholarship, it's £95 when I was there at the time, first year, and about 110 your second year. Where if you're on your 95, because you can't sign a pro contract till you're 17. Everyone has to be a scholar first year. But once you hit your 17th birthday, you can sign your pro. So that's when then Irish lads would start getting your 300, or lads who didn't know that English players are going to go, they'd be on the pro. So straight away I was like, I knew I'd made a mistake, but I signed the contract. There was nothing I could do. So when I went over there, I was on the back foot a little bit because I thought, like, because everyone presumed I was on this contract. They all presumed I was on a pro, and I wasn't. I was hiding the fact I wasn't because I kind of felt embarrassed that.
Of course, you
I
would.
wasn't.
You would, you know. It's.
And when I went over there, when I first moved over there as well, I found it very, very difficult for the reason that I never had been taught. You know, it was only with the Irish team for the 4 or 5 trips I was at that I was kind of being taught specific stuff. I was never taught anything football-wise until I got to Liverpool. And by then it was nearly too late because I was so far behind these lads. They knew their roles, they knew everything, and I was always playing catch-up. Without even it was only years later I realised that I was so far behind these lads. At the time I was like, how aren't I... You know, I should be... It's just football, you know? But it isn't. Once you're put in a pitch, you have to be specific stuff. You have to know, and I probably didn't know it. And it was only years later that I started to understand that I didn't know it. And, you know, especially when you're first year, like them lads had won the U Cup the year before. A lot of that team was still there, and I found it very difficult in my first year to, like, the first years weren't playing a lot. So I went from being like main man to, you know, kind of playing 20 minutes here, not in squads, playing 20 minutes here or there, and like you're like, this is very difficult. Like, I remember actually our first pre-season tour, we went to Villarreal. We went there every year. I was there actually, and Celtic and all these teams are there. Like, and my first Liverpool game was against AC Milan, and then we had AC Milan, Barcelona, and Real Madrid and Inter Milan in that tournament. But my first game, I'll never forget it, Percy, because obviously I left that Percy team, and they were going to play Middleton in the county final. It was Ted Moynihan. I was on the way to the match, and I text Ted Moynihan saying, like, all I wanted to do was be playing that county final. That's the only place I wanted to be. I was on my way to play AC Milan, like.
And can you imagine how good all them players are?
All I wanted to do was, like, I texted him this big long essay, and all I wanted to do was be there playing that county final against Middleton, which is a bit of a man because I say anyone else would have swapped with me. Like, but I remember I played the game, and I actually have the pennant from it because it was my first game. Dave actually gave it to me, Dave Shannon. Which was a nice thing to have, like.
Of course.
But it was only pre-season friendly. But they were the teams I was playing, and then I went in I was playing for Ireland then a lot. I was established for Ireland. I was always playing left midfield, and we played the Euros. That year we played against Germany. Tony Kroos actually. I always remember his name because when we went at that age, you would go to another country. There'd be nothing about the games because there was no publicity back then, especially underage, like not like now. Like
just the Echo maybe or something like.
But even over there, like when there was papers all over the table, there's just a fella on the front of it. I was thinking, this must be a senior player. No, Tony Kroos. I was thinking, like, going on here. No, he was very good. Like for that, he was outstanding. Like, but I remember thinking, like, back in Ireland, you wouldn't even know someone's got away, and now this fella plastered on papers. Like it was incredible. But sure, look what he's got on to do. I suppose it made sense, you know.
It's sweet.
But like my first year in Liverpool was probably a struggle because I got this problem with my back. I think it was a groin. They thought maybe it was a stress fracture, but it wasn't. It was a pain. It wouldn't go away. So I missed about 3 months with my back trying to do these exercises because I couldn't get pain free.
Yeah.
Could have been a growth thing. Could have been anything small. Because Martin Kelly at the time was out with a stress fracture and he hurt it by just moving moving.
Yeah.
So like it was that easy to do it. I'm surprised you don't have a lot more people with the injury. Like so, I was out for about 3 months, and when I came back into January. Time after I came back from Christmas, we were kind of going well in the U Cup, because I'd been out for a while. I wasn't in it. I remember coming home to play against Italy, and I got man of the match. It was a brilliant game. I remember Liam Brady was on, and I had a couple of teams sniffing around. Then I was like, because I was happy. I was like, if I could leave Liverpool now, I would.
Yeah,
The contract thing was always in my head.
Yeah.
And then we got to the end of they weren't going to let me go, and I don't think anything concrete happened anyway. But my confidence was gone. I mean, you look like. If you asked me to ping a ball 5 months ago anywhere, cross the ball or put a little hole in the top corner, I'll try and curl in there. And I always remember we were playing Newcastle away in the what's it called, the U Cup.
Yes.
And I think it was a quarter-final, semi-final. I think it was quarter-final, semi-final, but I was in the squad, so I was whipping corners in for the lads. But my confidence was so bad that the lads, Stevie Hoy was like, whip a ball in here, or John Owen's coach, like just whip a ball in, do it this, like whip it in front post and back post. I was so mentally, like, afraid. I couldn't get the ball in for a corner. Like, if you ask me now to do it, I'll do it 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But I kept putting it wide. I couldn't do it.
And is that down to, like, obviously, look, you know what I mean, as you said, look, there's the whole being homesick, there was I suppose, the injury, the contracts in the back of the mind.
And the lads that year above me were borderline
dipshits,
bullying, like.
Yeah, because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's like, I've just had numerous players on over the years that have gone cross-channel. George O'Callaghan being one of them, and he was called Paddy because he was Irish. He felt automatically there was something there when the Irish lads came over, like the UK lads. It was their sport, the Irish lads, or like the gust of the wind coming in. But that's obviously a big factor, and the fact you were so good. Yeah, it's amazing what can happen to your mentality when that happens to you.
Yeah, because I mean, if the game I'm on out there with Italy, I actually with Ireland, we done a corner drill before the game, and I mean like. Sean McCaffrey, he's like he died there, but he was involved with me.
Yeah.
From 16s up to 19s maybe.
Yeah.
With the Irish team, and he remember coming over to me going like, "This is like quality was unbelievable." And then we actually scored from a set piece for me whipping it in.
Yeah. Couldn't
put a foot wrong. And then 3 weeks later, I'm in Liverpool because I'm in an environment I'm comfortable in.
Yeah.
And then you put me in 3 weeks later an environment I'm not. I can't, because I'm like, if you could see what happened 3 weeks ago.
I know, it's mad what happens.
And like, to be fair, when I first went over, like that tournament I was telling you about as well, I remember I was rooming with a couple of lads, and like it was bullying because like I remember I was trying to sleep at night, and I mean they were just firing stuff at me all night, all night long.
Keep you awake.
Flip flops, they were just firing at me.
Yeah.
And I like, I suppose I didn't know. I remember saying it to the lads, they let me go home for a few days, but like. There was nothing.
Yeah, it's and this day and age, those shed is probably different, like as you say, back in you're looking at the area like of like 2006, 2007, 2008. You know what I mean? It's times are different back then. Where now it's something that'd be a player could probably get let go. Like if there was a dipshit now messing at a club today, he's probably sent away no matter who he is. Like
because even like to be fair, when I went because the same year, the end of the year, we went on say a trip to Italy, a football trip to Italy.
Yeah,
and. There was Italian team there, and to be fair, like one of the things I've never looked after my teeth. Whatever, I remember falling over, and I was always self-conscious of them.
Yeah. And
there was we were in the hotel with the other teams, and I'll never forget we were having dinner at the table, and they got this a lad. I can't remember what team it was, Florentine or so, I don't know what team it was, but they got him in. He was a foreign fella, and I mean all the coach and all the team were sitting here like the team dinner, and I was sitting there one, and I was actually sitting kind of close to the coaches, and they got your man to come in, and they went. They got your man saying in English, "Shane, please brush your teeth," like, and I'm telling you now, my soul left me because I was like, and everyone laughed, and afterwards, like, I was going back and I pulled the health and safety officer fella, and I just said to him, I was like, I don't know what to do here, like, is that? He was like, just get over it, and I was like, I'm a kid now who's only, I don't know if I turned 16 or I'm just going to turn 16. Oh no, sorry, I'm 16, but I'm like living away from home. I was like, that was hard to, and then I'm going into a room. The fella that was doing it was kind of in the room with me. I'm like in the room then, he's nice as pie, and I'm just like, I didn't know how to deal with it. Do you
Yeah,
know?
it's intimidating
And,
in a way,
thinking,
like,
and then
yeah.
all of them are laughing, and I'm kind of like, do you know, didn't really know what to do because I'm thinking like, if someone done that now, I'd be like, are you what? Like, you know,
fucking
if I
drag 'em
saw
down.
someone do it to someone, they'd be gone.
Yeah, it's banter's all right. I get the whole banter thing, right? But there's a mark, and sometimes there can be a language barrier. But it's just like if I'm in a room and someone says something to me, I'm gonna get very sensitive. Like I think, like I look back at things like I've been lucky, I suppose, when I grew up. Like obviously, like when you're in dress rooms and stuff. Like I played soccer and I played there's banter, but like I can never recall the banter crossing the line. But there's times then I think back to certain situations, like as you say, when you go to a disco and you do something, and someone says something to you, it's like, why the fuck did I say something to him? Like, or like, because you don't want the commotion and stuff. But
like, if people said, like, if I was in a group of 2 or 3 of them and people were, no problem.
Yeah,
that's fine because I'm close, I'm friends with them.
Yeah.
But I wasn't friendly with these lads.
Yeah.
They done it to get a rise out of me or to try and hurt
they
me.
knew you would one of the key players as well, like.
And they knew, and like we would, and to be fair, that tournament would have been my own age. It wouldn't have been the year above because it was like, so we would have had like say Conor Cody now and people like that up with John Flanagan. All them lads were coming up. So like for them, because I would have been one of the older ones, they then done it to me. That's like the only no respect for him then because of that, you know. Which it was a tough first year. Like I mean, I went home every chance I could nearly get. Like
what were you doing when you were coming home, Shane? So like when you're coming back for them few days and maybe a week, what was the story coming home? Were you like obviously still kicking around? Obviously you're with the family, you know, pumping mom's dinner into you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I mean, I would have been, my nan and granddad were like my idols. Like they were like everything to me. My nan and granddad growing up, like my granddad, like I Sports United because of my granddad. I'd go watch matches. He would kick around like they were everything to me. My nan and granddad were brilliant. So I obviously visit them. Obviously, my brothers and sisters at home, but like the lads, like you know.
Shane's back.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday night.
Down to Leisure Plex.
Yeah, up the planet.
Down the planet.
But like obviously I'd be with the lads, and it would be like I just love it, like because you'd only get home on a Friday, and then you'd only have like an hour or two Friday night 'cause you get home late. Then you'd have the Saturday, and you'd be going back Sunday night, like, and I'd be always like nearly missing the flight back, like rushing to the airport. I suppose the best time was during the summer. I came home the following summer. I came home and I remember I trucked loads of gear. I remember lads up in the parklands there. I was giving gear out like it was candy, like. And they had a load of gear, and I think I actually paid. I remember because I didn't know the bags. So I'm driving there. I remember I think it was 200 or 300 pounds I had to pay to get the bags home. I didn't think of this when I was packing them. But when I came home that year, I was lucky enough actually to play probably a couple months ago. I remember playing my senior football championship, my first ever game, and out to Clodove, and it was probably one of my favourite nights I've ever had in my life. It was probably my favourite match I've ever played. From start to finish, it was unbelievable. I think I got 5 points. I set up another few. I set up the goal for Stephen Glasgow. Like it was, we won on the night. Like it, but it was. I was only
still celebrating 16, that by the way. Probably.
It was it was the best nights I've ever had. Like it was the buzz. I've never experienced that like it. It was one of my favourite moments. Like, 'cause obviously I technically shouldn't have been playing, but I did mention it before I came home. I said it to the coach. I said, look, if there was an opportunity, could I play that during the summer? And he said, his exact words to me, I'll never forget it, was, I won't be reading the Cork Echo, because actually it's the Liverpool Echo. So he said, I won't be reading the Cork Echo, whatever it is. So that I felt that was my green light to go. Okay.
Yeah, and they know you're active as well. And like you mentioned a big club, right? So obviously Liverpool, look, you know what I mean, they won the Champions League 2005, the ultimate comeback. Obviously, like, you know what I mean, there's the whole homesick factor. You know, you're playing with like Conor Cody's around, John Flanagan, Jay Spear, and you're seeing all these guys there. Any encounters with like Rafa? I know Steve, like we mentioned Steve Highway in a sec. I'm glad you mentioned he came to the Kingsley. Like Steve Highway is one of the greats. First of all, what was Steve Highway like? He's obviously
scary.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose the managers I played under, like you look at Steve Highway, Roy Keane, say Paul Jewell.
Yeah.
The angry people, like, you know, like, as in they have a way about them. I remember, like, if you want warming up properly, like, Steve would be on you, like, on you. But he was unbelievable. Like, he's just attention to detail. He knew exactly how to get the best out of people. He won 2 U Cups in a row, and since he's left, you know, it hasn't, like, you know, so there's a reason why he was so. But there was, like, for myself, I suppose I played in a unique position. I ended up, because I went over as a winger, but I ended up being a left back, and I played in a unique position where they were kind of few and far between. Now I think I would have been ahead of the curve a little bit, where I'd been very attacking left back.
Yeah.
Back then, weren't so sure on them. Like, I mean, if I played now, I'd probably be still I'd be still over there, because I was that was how my game was. But the thing was, Benitez and Highway didn't get on, so the gap between the academy and Kirby, said at Melwood, the academy in Melwood would have been huge. So there was no real opportunity to go. Now, when I trained in the reserves, in Melwood, you would train sometimes in there, and you would be amongst them. Sometimes you'd be pulled over, you do a training session, whatever, and you're looking at these lads just running rings around, you're like, I'll get back over to the side there, like, do you know, like, I mean, you see Gerard Torres, you're just like, what's going on here, you know, because I was part of that, like, and when you're watching them train, and I remember watching Ryan Babylon train and thinking, like, this fella is superstar, like, he just couldn't translate it to the pitch, like, you know. I remember Gerard was like one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, he was so genuine. He'd always say hi to you. I remember one of the most sobering things was, there was a few lads in international break, so Carragher and a few of the lads were in training, and the ball came into me. And obviously, as I always say to people, now have a picture of what you want to do before you have it, look over your shoulders. Obviously, I wasn't practicing what I was preaching back then, because I thought, I'm going to have a touch on the ball here and play here. Well, didn't he come through the back of me? Bang. Don't get that time here, lads. Off. Oh, great lesson. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't doing it to hurt me. He was doing it to say, you need to look over your shoulders. You need to know. Like, and it was a great lesson, because I think that would have helped me then to go, right, I need to know my surroundings a bit better. Again, stuff I wasn't taught when I was younger, because when you get a ball, you could maybe be protected, or there wasn't people fast enough closing you down. You get to that level, you need to know where you're going, because otherwise I'm on you. It was a sobering one for me. But yeah, like, I was in and around them lads. It was unbelievable. I never really felt that I was ever going to be a Liverpool player, ever, as long as I was there.
Even arriving, like,
no,
the first year, obviously, when
I went there, I thought I was going to be playing after you know, like, I thought this is going to be simple. I play. I didn't know what world I was walking into. Didn't have a clue what I was going to be walking into. Like, you're fighting against lads who are technically the best in every country in the world. Like, you're not fighting against the best in Ireland. You're fighting against the best everywhere
in the world.
And it's incredibly difficult, like, to break through with a club like that. Don't know, was I ever good enough? Probably not. Like, you know,
but like, a lot of that too, Shane, can come to the manager. Like just say I'm not trying to be. I have to watch what I say, but like, obviously Rafa's there, right? Just say Roy Hodgson was there now, or you had Brendan Rodgers, right?
Well, you look at Robertson, Jack Robinson. He plays Sheffield United. He would have been year below me, say. So, like, if I'm a couple of years later, can I get an opportunity? Can someone else see something else in me? Even, like, say, the 18s coach, I remember my second year, I played every single game up until we started playing the U Cup, right? And I played the first round U Cup. I actually got man of the match away at Wickham, and then we were playing Arsenal at home in the second game, and I played every single game. And I remember Hughie McCall, I remember one of the words he said in one of the talks, if we could have a team of Shanes, we'd be much better off. So I was like, I'm doing all right here. And they're like, And then what happened was, Gary Mackay-Stephen, who was a good friend of mine when I was there, he came from Scotland, and there was a fella, Alex Kranjanovic, I'll try and get his name right. He ended up playing for Fulham. Gaz ended up playing for Celtic up in thing as well. But, like, what happened was we had a Dutch fella who came in to take over from Steve Highway, who created this mad philosophy where we trained 4 times a day. We had to be in at 6:30 in the morning. We done 4 half-an-hour sessions, but it had to be 2 hours gap between each one.
Jesus.
It was horrific. I mean, like, horrific. Like, lads were just asleep all over the place. Like, it was just because, like, you used to come in at 10. Train to 12, have your lunch, go train again, and then you'll be home at 4. You weren't getting home till 6 now, and it was just, and then you're up again at 5:30 to get for someone to bring you in, and it was just bizarre. But he wanted Alex. They brought Gaz from Scotland, who was a left winger. Alex was also a left winger, but they had to try and feed him in because they moved his family over, got him a house.
Jesus.
So he had to play. So it was me and Gary. But then all of a sudden, Alex had to figure into the equation. So then pushing Gary left back. Now, Gaz is a good player, like, but he didn't play left back for when he played senior. He ended up being back a winger because that was his position. So I ended up losing out, and I remember thinking at the time that this is so harsh. I mean, like, I couldn't, like, I was I was playing so well, I was doing so well.
And you were the better player, probably. It's
At
just
the
the
time,
politics a bit like.
left back at the time, because I'd only adjusted to left back. I got a good 6 months there. I learned as well. Huey was very, very good in his attention to detail. He done a lot with us in pre-season of us knowing where to be, a lot of shape. Like, was very, very good. And I think I understood the position well. I would have got forward. I would have supported Gary well. And yeah, and like that, I was out. And what I was would stand to though is that, like, that even though my contract was run up that year, they were like, "Will you stay for another year?" I was like, "Well, why do you want me to stay after me? Like, you know, I'm not even playing now." But at the time I didn't have a lot of, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll take the third year scholar, £400 a week, no problem, I'll take it."
Yeah.
So I didn't play the U Cup. We ended up beating Arsenal at that time, but we lost up in Sheffield. We lost up in Sunderland against Jordan Henderson's year, and actually Jack Colback would have been a very good friend of mine at the time. I didn't know him, but afterwards in Ipswich we met, and he was playing that game as well. So we lost to them, and then it was just back to the league game. But obviously my chance had gone, because the U Cup that's what you're playing for.
It's a big thing, yeah. I know Billy Clark used to always talk about it.
Like, I won it the year before, but I never played in the final. So like, that medal didn't mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah.
This was my year. This was my my thing, and I thought, like, this was going to be my chance, especially when I was doing really well. I played every single game, didn't miss a training session, didn't miss a game, and that was kind of disappointing for me. And then my third year in Liverpool was when Huey kind of pulled me at the start of the year. He said, "Look, we're going to try and blood the young lads." Like, I was like, what am I here for? Because my first year there was a third year, and they always played because they were trying to give them the best opportunity to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Where now it came around to mine and another lad's third year, and it was like, we're going to try and give the young lads, so like, we'll just feed you. And I'm a third year, like, I need to play, otherwise what's the point here?
Yeah.
So that was a difficult year for me regards football wise, because I was only really training.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't playing any games. I didn't have a U Cup because I was too old for U Cup.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to Melwood because I tell a lie, we went sometimes to train there. And I remember Gary Ablett.
Gary, yeah.
I remember asking him, I actually begged him, I said, like, "Can I please stay here? Will you just please give me an opportunity to show you?" Because I promise you, whatever feedback you're getting isn't true. And he obviously didn't believe me, or when he asked, or because he would have had the power to just get a week here. Because he only saw me playing 2 games, and I done unbelievably well, one against Rangers, and I can't remember the other one that he saw me play under him, and he would have thought, he was, it's good stuff there, like, you know, you're doing very well, like.
Yeah.
So I just give me an opportunity to train here for a week with you, and I promise you, I knew I would have never went back, because I would train with better players.
Yeah.
I knew I would, might not have been good enough for that level of Liverpool, but I knew he would have kept me. I knew he would have. So so what happened was I kind of, that year petered out for me in the end until March, and I remember saying to the lads, I said, "Look, can I just leave my last couple of months?" And they were like, "Because obviously I'm not going anywhere here." And they were like, "Yeah, I'll try and get another club." So I came home, and what happened was, I'll come to the part of me meeting Roy Keane now, because I gotta get this part, because it'll all feed into the Ipswich part.
Yeah.
When I first went over, when the stuff happened with the lads throwing stuff at me, I was quite homesick, and obviously Roy Keane's mum lives in, well, she did live out in Killeen's area, so my nan knew her through some sort of, or my dad's mum knew her through some sort of thing, or maybe I don't know how she knew her.
Probably a bingo.
Yeah, she got her number, and I was sitting down with the lad, the child in my digs playing one night, and the phone rang, we held number, answered it. It's Roy Keane here. It is, yeah. It was, like, he's rock mounts, everything was mine, the same as him. Like, I remember he bought us jerseys, he was the idol, like. So I was like, Roy Keane on the phone here, and he remember he was talking to me, and he was like, "Look, you know," he gave me good advice. It was a good conversation, and what happened was then I had his number, and then obviously I didn't keep in contact with him because he was at Sunderland at the time, but I kind of kept in somewhat contact. And then when I came home in the March that time, I'd been previously out in his house in January, because I was trying to ask for advice, like, what am I going to do here? I didn't know what to do, because when I came home for Christmas, I actually went to his mum's house and asked for, because I actually didn't have his number. I asked for his, because he rang me and we held. I asked, could I give you my number, and him call me, and he did. He called me in the January, and he invited me down to a house. down in Manchester, and I drove down to his house. I was down because I didn't want to be late. I was there about 3 hours early. Traffic. I was like, I'm not one person not being late for here.
Especially for Roy.
Not being late for this house.
Yeah.
And I was there about 3 hours. And I remember when he actually met me, he goes, "Oh, yeah, did you find it okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been in the village for the last 3 hours." "Why didn't you text me earlier?" I was like, "You told me at 5. I'm there at 5. That was it, you know what I mean?" So he brought me in, and Teresa was there now, and it was lovely, and he introduced me, and I think the Six Nations game was on a Friday night, so maybe it must have been February time maybe, but he brought me in. I remember he brought me to a snooker table. I gave him a snooker.
Yeah, but you have a snooker room, is it?
He had a snooker table, and I remember, right, so we were kind of chatting, but I remember the snooker game, and I remember we were playing snooker, and I'm like, I'll beat him here. Do you know that kind of way? I think what I kind of done was, I kind of missed the shot on purpose. Now, I wouldn't have been great anyway because there was a big snooker table. It wouldn't, but it was an easy shot.
Yeah.
He said, if we're playing, we're playing.
Yeah.
So I was all right. Okay. Now it was so I was like, play it. I think he still beat me anyway, but I was like, don't take the piss, like kind of thing. Yeah. So I remember when then we went into his kind of sitting like a little room afterwards, and I was chatting to him, and he was like, he had no medals right anywhere. I remember going like, no, like, see Premier League medal or something like so, like, you know. And he was like, no, I've no medals anywhere. Don't want the kids to see all that kind of stuff up in the attic or whatever. And I was like, oh, no, fair play. I was like, so there was no, maybe a couple pictures, but there was nothing really to show that
he was a footballer.
You know. And I said, and then I was kind of curious as well. I was like, Sunderland thing, like, you know what, like, because you were just after leaving Sunderland. I was like, will we go back into management? Because I was like thinking, like, can I angle away in? And he was like, he left Sunderland because I don't know, he held the story himself that I think they were on a bit of a bad run.
Yeah.
And he didn't live in Sunderland, which is one of the big things he brought to Ipswich. He was driving up and down. And what happened was, I think there was a reserve game on up there during the week, and I don't think he went training all the time, you see. But he was going up to this reserve game, and the chairman, I think, rang him to say, like, you coming to the reserve game, or what's the story? Like, the conversation that he said to me that day was like, the man pissed him off, and that was it. He goes, I'm done. Turned the car around back to Manchester.
Yeah.
So basically, the chairman saying, like, are you coming up or what? I think maybe he took offence to the fact of saying, maybe, are you doing your job properly, or I don't know what way he took it.
There was a trigger point there, definitely.
It was a thing of, like, are you coming to the game? He took it as, you know what, F you, I'm
gone.
Yeah. So that was how we actually left. It wasn't a case of him being sacked over performance. It was, I think, over that. Maybe it was going that way anyway because of the performance. I think maybe they got beaten well by Everton.
They did,
and it was probably going that way. I remember was a Porter or someone beating well. Matt Taylor got that goal, that cracker, didn't he? So he was probably on a bad run. But when I had his number from that January, so when I went home in the March, I was at home, and then in the April, I don't know if you remember, there was Ipswich, but there was another team. I don't know, it was a Cardiff or someone else. He was really linked with, highly linked
Cardiff,
with.
actually, Wales. I remember it was up.
And
because I remember the one with the Welsh move.
He was hugely linked with him, and I was sitting there, and I was like, I'll have to text him. And I remember writing this message out to him. Do you know, like, maybe like thinking like, because I didn't know anyone else to get me back over there, so I was like, can you play whatever? And I got nothing back. And next thing, I think it was that Friday or the following Friday, I think he announced Ipswich, and he was on the Late Show, wasn't he? I think he'd done the parents. I think he played the Saturday with Ipswich then, or maybe he'd done the Late Late pre-recorded. I don't know. But he texted me back on the Saturday or Sunday, and he said, "We'll get you over for pre-season." So I knew then I had something to gear for. 1st of July. I was over for. I was out on the golf course. His PA rang me and said, "We have a flight for you 1st of July. Come over for the 2-week trial." Absolutely buzzing. So obviously I trained hard on my own. At home I was getting ready for going over, and I went over on the 1st of July, and I loved every minute of it. Because when I was going from Liverpool now to Ipswich, because I'd been to a couple other clubs when I was in Liverpool, to take Crew and places like that, I was like, I could never go here, because like that I went to have a look at to go, and I couldn't go to them places like Stockport, and it was such a fall off. Now you have no choice, sometimes you have to do, but like Ipswich, when I went there, it was like, this is an unbelievable setup. I think it was a new training ground as well though, but it was phenomenal. Dressing rooms, like, it was laid out for you. The pitches were immaculate.
Big club too, like.
Huge. Huge. I probably didn't know enough about them until I went there. Huge club. But everything was perfect. I mean, they had me in the hotel, paid for everything. It was amazing. I went over there. I never forget the first kind of couple of weeks training. I had fell into, we were doing it was on a Saturday, and we were doing this kind of possession drill, and whatever way it was one of them things where everything was falling for me.
Yeah.
Could not, if you asked me to pass the ball to the wrong team, I couldn't have done it. I was just I was popping it. I remember the ball came into me, I flicked it around the corner to John Stead, like, and he finished it. And I remember Tony McLaughlin, I remember whatever I caught his eye, he was like, whoa, like this, like, you know, and I knew I was onto something, I was doing well. And he actually stopped the session, he pulled everyone in, and he went, he was like, see this fella, he's not even on a contract. He goes, and why is he standing above all of ye? Do you know? And then I kind of knew, I goes, I'm on the right path here.
Yeah.
Now, he would do you no favours though, if you were, because there was a couple lads from Sunderland that were younger lads there on trial as well, so I wasn't on my own there. So what happened was then, because I technically part of the reserve team, so what happened was he goes, you're going to train with the reserves, first team are going to head away, and I was like, okay. So Brian Klug, who was in charge of reserves time, was probably the single best coach I've ever worked under. Unbelievable, man. Like, he could, if you're training with 6 or 7, it's difficult. He'd make that enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not in the first team squad, you're like, there's lads over there, they're downbeat. He will give you a good session. He will make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Without even, like you even understanding how he done it. He just had this unbelievable knack. He was a great person, unbelievable person. And he was basically the one who was judging me over my trial period. But on my first game, I got 2 goals against. I actually got 3, but they count the other one as an own goal. I still first my feelings, even though no one else will ever think about it, but I do. And then I got 2 in my next game, and then I was sitting on the physio table, I was getting a massage, and on the Saturday when I was meant to go home the next day, and I just said, Brian, I goes, what do I do? Because I'm heading home tomorrow. He goes, yeah, you won't be going anywhere.
Oh.
So then I was like, right, brilliant, because the first team were still away. He said, you won't be going anywhere. I'll get Fran to sort out your hotel. And when the first team were back, we'll speak to the manager and whatever. Wasn't. So I went in then, the first team were back, I think maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. And we went into the, gaffer called me in and he said, we're going to offer you a contract. I was like, thank God. He goes, I'll give you a year. I was like, yeah, okay. He goes, 700 a week. And I was like, I was like, 700. He goes, not negotiable. It's okay. Fair enough. But he wasn't in a position to negotiate because anyone else.
And he probably would have looked after you anyway, Shane.
Well, we'll get to that. So it was 700 quid a week for the year, which was fair. I was over on 400 before that, so it was fair. That was probably for a reserve Ipswich player in the championship. Would be a good wage. So I signed for them, and then when I signed, I think the next weekend we came on a pre-season trip to Ireland.
Yeah.
So we flew over on the Friday. We played Waterford on the Friday, and we played City on the Sunday. So came over, came in on the Friday morning, came into Cork Airport, drove down to Waterford, played the game. I played the Waterford game first half. Me and David Norris, we both came off at half time in that game, and I thought, right, I'm going to be playing a half of the City game because that was the only game I can do.
Especially with Turner's Cross.
Like, get me out to Turner's Cross there on Sunday. We trained in Turner's Cross on the Saturday evening. I got brought up home on the. I asked could I go home for a couple of hours, so I went back to Park. I was thinking I was some sort of celebrity, so I would play Cork City, so Ipswich gear on.
But you would have been anyway, Shane, you know what I mean?
Well, see, the thing is now, lads get a lot more profile now than back then. Like you might look on the paper now, years ago, and see, they played a game on a thing, where now, social media, like, you see academy game, like, it's huge different now, like. So, like even that game I played against Italy that time, I would have got a lot of attention because of how well I done that. Like Liam Brady talked about it would have been a lot more blown up, you know. But what happened was the City game came, sure, I had everybody in there. Cousin at the game, like, didn't play a minute. Didn't bring me on.
I remember, I was there.
Didn't play a minute. City won 2-0. I remember the dressing down after the game. Like, he went to town. Like, I remember Johnny Walters in there, and I think he was saying to Johnny, like, 2.5 million for you. 2.5, I snap your hand. Someone give me 2.5 million for you. I'll snap their hand off. He goes, I have to go through the airport now, hide. Like, can't go back to Cork.
I believe it is.
It
was a mad game. Like.
He was fuming. I can't remember the foreign lad. He scored a penalty. It was a dinger into the top corner.
Yeah.
But I didn't kick a ball for a minute, and then that was me. Then I was fully part of the squad. Well, not first team squad, but I went back to Ipswich then, and I played in. It was still pre-season. I remember my first kind of dressing down I got from the gaffer was we played Charlton away in a pre-season friendly game. Jojo Shelby had this ball in the middle of the park. I played this diag over my head. He was doing it all game long, you know. Nothing worse than when, because obviously midfielders getting time on the ball and they're having diag, and they have this pacey winger, and I'm like, I can't go too soon because, you know, I'm going to let a gap between the centre half. So played the ball out, and the one time he got this touch inside me, and Rash took him down penalty. So I think we lost the game. It was only friendly. It was 2-0. But like I remember him going to town on me, and I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah. He went to town. And obviously then that was the last pre-season game. So we were last pre-season the reserves were involved, and so we went kind of about our own thing. And I was with the reserves then for that first 6 months of that year. I actually done my knee. I was out for 3 months, my medial, and I thought I'm done here. I remember crying and thinking, because I said to the physio, "It's my chance." Like, I goes, "I'm going to be out for how long am I out for?" And he goes, "Look, best case scenario probably is 3-4 months." Like, that's my year gone. Like, by the time I get back in and whatever. But by the time after Christmas, when I was going home for Christmas, he pulled me into the office and he just said, "Enjoy your Christmas, and when you come back, be at it." He goes, "Just enjoy it, and when you come back, be at it." So I was like, "Okay." He said, "You have 6 months, like, you're going to have to show, like, So I said, "Yeah, okay." So I went home for Christmas, long pork buzzing, all that jazz. Came back, and Roy went into this mad phase of bleed tests, and especially for the reserve players for some reason. So our first bleed test, we're running the bleed test, and he's walking in through the group, and he looks at me and says, "You're winning this today." I had no fucking intention of winning the thing, but because he said it, I had no choice but to try and outlast anyone else in it. And I did. I won it. Now, whether it was by pot luck, I was just the fittest one in it at the time. Maybe I was out injured. I done a lot of running. We done another one 2 weeks later, winning this one. Oh, there's different lads in it now. I don't know how for there. So I ended up winning that one again. And then we done another one. The younger lads are in it now. Jeez. Yeah, he goes, "You have to keep up the thing." So I'm the geezer who keeps winning bleed tests now. Like, you know what I mean? Is this what I'm going to be? Like, won the third one. And then he was like, then I was back in kind of thinking, he made me reserve team captain. I think it was a mentality thing. Yeah. He made me reserve team captain off that, which would have been a kind of big deal for me, because like me captain of the reserves would have been a big deal, because it would have been Jack Ainsley would have been a really he would have been through the ranks, which would have been an important player there. He kind of let me take over the rank of being captain, and he was always actually very good about it. When you say a good group of players compared to Liverpool, that was a good group of players. Like the lads in the reserves, I suppose it was probably 6-7 of us that were tight knit. The rest were made up of the youngsters, you see. So there was only a small unit of us, that were proper reserve players. Yeah. Compared to Liverpool, where there's 40, it's only 6 or 7 here. Yeah. So so what happened was I played reserves, and I remember playing Norwich away. I scored 2 against Southend the day before I made my first. It was very easy for me. You feel like this is
your
simple.
day.
I was playing reserve football, and I was thinking I might as well playing against 12-year-olds. This is easy. And I remember I scored 2 against Southend in a friendly. Well, it was a reserve game, and I remember I hurt my ankle and the game was kind of sore, but I wanted to play on, and I remember getting whipped off. I was kind of saying I was like, "I want to get whipped off, or like leave me on. Like, it's my only game. I'm not going to play again until next week. Like, leave me off." And I remember Keane shouting in the stands, going, "If you're hurt, get off." I was like, "Why is he doing that?" Like, sat down anyway. I thought none of it. I could barely. It's one of them after the game. Then you can barely. Like, I remember his car was driving past the bus, right? And I was walking to the bus, and I was doing everything in my power to walk, but I couldn't, because obviously the adrenaline had run out.
It's gone.
And I couldn't walk, and I was doing everything in my power to walk. And I remember he just glared at me walking past. So I got in the bus, and I went in for physio the next day. And the morning time, he strapped me up. He goes, "How are you feeling?" I goes, "Sore." Like, he goes, "Whatever, you train tomorrow." He goes, "So we'll see tomorrow when I come in." Like, but I goes, "Look, I'll probably train. Strap it up, I'll be grand." Like, and he's like, "Yeah, sound." So I went out, and I came in the next day, and I was looking at the list for training, and I was with the first team. I was thinking, "Fucking hell, it's my first time with the first team on a Friday. Obviously, you'll be with them during the week, but on a Friday it would be segregated to the squad." Yeah. So I was thinking, I'm obviously in the squad Sheffield Wednesday away, but I was like, there's 20 players go with the away game, because in case someone gets sick, you'd have someone to bring in. So I was like, look, I'm obviously the 20th man, brilliant, still unbelievable. So anyway, we travelled on the Friday night, never forget it. Friday night fight night was on. Audley Harrison last round, left hook, knocked the fella out.
Oh yeah.
It was that night, Friday night. I was rooming with Conor Wickham. I don't know if you know him. He played Palace. He was my roommate.
Big tall lad. Yeah. He was worth. He had a few big transfers over the years.
Next main man. Injuries didn't help him. Yeah. Good kid though, but like injuries didn't help him. He was bred to be the next big thing though. Maybe traditional number 9s fell away small, because that's what he was like. Yeah. But I was rooming with him, and remember the next morning you go for a walk, and the next morning the physio pulled me and said, "How are you feeling?" I was a bit sore. Like, I goes, "Look, sure, what are you doing? Like, I'm only being stand. Like, I think you're in." I go, "In the squad?" He was like, "No, I think you're in." "In what?" "In the team." "No, I'm not." I goes, "I've never been in the squad, but I'm going to be in the team." goes, I think you are. Like, he goes, I'm pretty sure you are. He goes, there's no way I'm in the squad. He goes, look, we'll strap it up just to be safe. Because he goes, if you're going to, like, just when you come back to the hotel, just strap it up. If you're not, take it off. It's like, all right. So I went back and he strapped it up, and I was like, wasting my time here. I strapped my ankle up. Went into the team room, and I kind of sat at the back. So I was like, I don't want to be up the front here now while everyone's kind of looking. I don't want to be. So I sat at the last row next to Damien Delaney, Damo.
Yeah.
And he flips the chart. And there's my name. I kind of wasn't looking, and I looked again. Then he went Shane left back. Who the fuck is Shane? And then he didn't even look at me. He just said Shane left back, and he went through the rest of the team. And then Damo just slapped my leg. He was like, "You're in." And I was still kind of going, "What is going on here?" So all he said to me before the game was, "Enjoy it." That was it. You're well able, enjoy it. And there was no big, spiel. And I never forget it as long as I live. I went out and in Hillsborough, and Damien Delaney, who was unbelievable for me as a left centre back, because what he allowed me to do was be more adventurous, because he would cover the channel. If you're a left back and you have a centre half who's afraid to come to the channel, you are goosed, because you now are going to get exposed all the time, which I kind of happened to me a few times in other games, because I didn't have someone like Damien who was willing to cover a channel or cover the space that you were leaving if you were kind of small but forward. And I probably didn't appreciate it as much until I've gotten older and understood the tactics of the game. He was phenomenal for me.
Genius,
phenomenal for me. So he as we went out to set up for the game, like, I remember walking out and they were playing a song. He just looked at me and said, "This is what it's all about." Breathe it in. And they were playing their song, and he started singing it. I don't know what the song was, but he started singing their song. And I don't know, did it relax me? I actually had no nerves from that moment on. Whatever it was, he just completely zoned me out. I was like, yeah, that's it.
Jeez.
And I played the game, and I didn't do anything particularly brilliant. Didn't do anything. My goal with the game was to just be there.
Solid,
Pass the ball well, but don't give anything up. And we won the game 1-0. Carlos Edwards got a cracker into the top corner. We won 1-0. And that kind of started my run of games in the team. Now he would bring me out sometimes just because he didn't want me playing. Like, I remember we played on Friday against Reading at home with Longy. We were playing for Reading, and then we were playing Monday against Derby. So he played me in the away game against Derby instead of the home game against. But he was always quite clever. So what he done, he actually left me out of the squad completely. I said, "Will you go up and do the corporate stuff?" Which was clever, because then he got me introduced to the fans. As like, and introduced myself, and he's like, and then I tell all the fans, I'm back in Monday anyway. So stupid, like, you know what I mean? I goes, no, I'm in the squad again Monday, I'm just out today, like, and which I started Monday. We won against Derby, but I started a long run of me being in the team. And it was like unbelievable time to be like, I'm playing all these games, like, playing Nottingham Forest away.
Good stadiums too, like.
Yeah, like, I mean, Tyson Fury, Nathaniel Tyson, was it?
Yeah.
Remember him? What a day he gave me. What a day he gave me. And I remember half time we came in, and Gaffer gave me a bit of a dressing down. He said, like, you're not even trying to kick him. You're just letting him run. So about 30 seconds, it was nil all. About 30 seconds in the second half, he ran at me. Well, I butchered him. Butcher him. And they crossed in and scored from the free kick. Oh my God, here we go. We lost 3-0. We got hammered afterwards. He started hammering. I remember hammering Carlos Edwards, going, "When I bring you on to help us, not help them." Stuff like that. And so, like, he's hammering us. And when he's like, "Shane, when you did get down the ring and put one of your shit crosses in, but at least, you know what? At least you put a tackle in." And I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, but my tackle technically caused the first goal."
Yeah.
But, like, to be fair, he planted the seed. Kick him.
Yeah.
So I went and kicked him, but we conceded the goal. Kind of, but I thought it was my fault. We'd see the first goal, changed the game completely. Goals change games, like, that's what changed it.
Yeah.
But then one of the best dressing downs we've ever got is Watford away. So we play Watford away. We score in the first half. Jack Colback, ball back to me. I crossed it in. Darren Murphy header, 1-0 up. Bang. Right, buzzing. They score in the second half, 1-1. And what happened was it was late in the game, it was 1-1, and we were pressing. I got the ball and I started to break, and I had this thing in my mind, goes, if I keep breaking here and we lose the ball, I'm going to leave a space. So I tried to flick it to Lee, but he didn't move into the space for me, so the defender came across and got it and played a long ball forward, nicked down, goal, 2-1. Must be like the 86th minute. So I'm thinking, getting it here, like. So we've gone in the dressing room, and I think we were an hour and a half in there.
Which is long, probably,
He went, just getting Kane. He went through people now, like a knife through butter. I remember Lee Martin, it was like, I knew I shouldn't have signed you. You're from London. mean, Damon Delaney, he's have these things on his hand, like these white, like, I don't know what they're for. He was like, what are you putting tape in your hand for? Knew I should have signed you. You're from the wrong side of the river. I knew. It's only kind of me really understood what wrong side of the river means. I don't know. I think Keeler's was on loan at Hamilton, so he wasn't there. Wrong side of the river. He's from Douglas.
Yeah,
he's not a north sider, like. And I'm sitting there. I'm the only one that's grasping this. I remember he said to Heeler's another dress, like take your points and the goals will come. It's again only me and a couple of lads that understood what he was on about, like.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's on about London lads, like drive-by shooting. He's like, you're looking for drive-by shooting, like on about the London lads, like you're just used to this and calling them soft, and he's hammering lads. I mean, like, even got to me, are your parents proud? Yeah, I suppose they are. They should be, but of that shit. And I was just there going, he could have came for me. Like he hammered us all. Like he individually, like went through us all. Like I remember Garvin.
Yeah. Played at Palace as well.
At the time, and when you take a centre at the time and like you try and find the right winger, maybe you have Johnny Walters or whoever, you try and find a winger. So like he played the ball to guards, and it was the first minute, and guards kicked out play, and he said, if you do that again, I'm taking you off. Like that, like, how can you lose the possession from the ball from a kick-off?
Yeah.
So in that game, the ball got dropped to guards and kicked it out of play, and I think he whipped him after like 3 minutes.
Jesus
he was
Christ.
gone.
Garvin, I remember Garvin. He was something else. So obviously, look, Ipswich is it's a magical time, and it's probably Shen, a good first season. Obviously playing a lot of games and stuff. We're watching it back home in Cork. Obviously, we see our name popping up. It's a good thing. Towards the end of the season, what's happening with Ipswich? Obviously, look, like there's good results, bad results.
Yeah.
I suppose Keano's in the spotlight, not just for results, but obviously because he's causing problems with players and players start to talk.
I suppose his first year, he was ruthless. Like there's no doubt about it. Like what I'll go into here now in my second year, like briefly, but like what happened at the end of the first year, obviously, because our contracts were up. Well, my contract was up, sorry, and a lot of the reserve contracts were up, so whether you were going to get a contract enough. But I had done the best out of the reserve players to get a deal, say. So what I was thinking, so I played more than lads who were on, say, 8, 9, 10 grand a week.
Yeah.
So when I was going to get an agent, there was a chap called Ben Thatcher who I was injured with when I had my knee injury, and I became close with him because when you're injured, you're there all the time. You're there morning, you're nearly first ones to come in and last ones to leave. And he would have been very good to me. He got me, like, gym-wise, very good, very fit.
Yeah.
Looked after me. We used to go for food together. He really, really looked after me. He was a really good friend. So what happened was, he obviously was finished. Him and Keane did not get on. Remember, he used to be questioning him, like, if he was sick, he'd have to, like, he hated him. He was in the dressing room on his own. He actually wasn't allowed to change with anyone but himself. But Snatch just didn't care. He just came in and went home. He just dotted the I's and crossed. He took his dough and done his thing. And at the end of I think towards the end of the year, he was like, look, I have enough now. I'm after doing the year. I'm after probably pissing him off enough. I've done it. So he said, I'll leave. And he left for that, but he was becoming an agent. And Alan Quinn, I don't know if you know Alan Quinn.
Yeah.
So I was out with Quinny for lunch one day, and Snatch rang the phone like, all right, geezer, you'd be giving me little Irish, you know what I mean? Like,
the band, like,
really good fella. Like, he didn't mean any harm. Like, he's becoming an agent, and he was like, I'll sort you. I'll have you the richest Irish fucker and all this, right? And I was like, absolutely, like, 100%. And then Keane pulled us. He said, if any of you sign with him, you're done. You're never kick a ball. And then I crapped myself. Quinny was like, sign, you'd be grand. Like, I was like, oh, I can't, like, you know what I mean? And I ended up taking up this fella called Tim Webb.
I know about your volley language straight away, because like, I've heard the stories with agents, but obviously it wasn't good, was it?
No, this fella, he ended up, so what happened was I went home in the summer, and I said, look, I signed with Tim. I said, look, sort out my contract. I said, look, I'm going to be looking for minimum here, $4 grand a week, couple of grand appearance. Then I'll obviously parents base, this, that, and the other, whatever. So he said, grand. So he came back to me about 2 weeks later, and I said, look, get me 3-4 year deal, something like that anyway, and like get me some sort of security, because I've played enough games now. I know, because I played against Cardiff towards the end of the season. My home debut was against Cardiff, and I got man of the match, like, and they were they were asking about me, like, so I knew what. But the problem was, like, there would have been a fee involved, and I suppose I hadn't played enough games for a fee to be paid because I played. So it just kind of had me a little bit by, so I remember Tim rang me. I was actually out in the street kicking the ball with a friend of mine, Brian Sullivan, down by his house. He rang me and he went, Ipswich came back with an offer. I was like, all right, what is it? 1,000 a week. I mean 1,000 a week. He goes, a grand a week. I was on 700. I was just play 13, 15 games. I goes, I have a good chance of being the starting left back next year. He's like, 1,000 a week. I said, tell him no. Tell him 4,000, whatever else. So what happened was, again, a couple of days went by. He rang me. He said, best I can get is 1,200. I goes, hold on a minute. I goes, 1,200 euro. And he goes, yeah, but they'll give you 1,200 for every game you play. So really it's 2.5 grand a week. I said, it's 2.5 grand a week if I play every week.
Yeah.
I said, that's not security. I said, how long? He said, 2 years. I said, 2 years?
You said 3 to 4 then, yeah.
And I was like, that's not like, you know, I goes, I have no security. I goes, I want a longer one for, I goes, if I'm taking less money, I'm definitely getting more years. He was like, look, that's the best they can do. So I said, tell him, no, don't want it.
Yeah.
So what happened then was I got a phone call from the PA. She said, look, the manager wants you back a week before everyone else when the academy lads are back. Come back in the week before. I was like, I don't even know if I'm coming back, like, you know, but I was like, okay. So I come back in, but obviously I was going to go back because I wasn't going to not play. Do you know what I mean? I was trying to hardball. So I come back in and I met him on the Monday morning and he, tell you now, wow, roasted me. Who the do you think you are? Turning down a contract here. Where would you be if it wasn't for me? And again, I wouldn't have had enough about me to question being like, you know, I don't think it's enough, this, that, or the other. Where would you be if it wasn't without me? Asking for this, asking for that. I kind of didn't say anything. He was like, you're going to sign that contract. It's 1,200 when you play. He said, you have number 3 this year. You're left back. He goes, you'll play. Well, if you deserve to play, kind of thing, like, do you know what I mean? But number 3 is like, I was number 30. I was given number 3, so I'm left back, you know. So I suppose, and then in my head, I'm like, I'm 2.5 grand a week. If I keep playing the way I'm playing, I know I'll get a move because I was getting a lot of talk about me towards. I was like, look, I'll get a move because I remember Liam Senior, who was part of us before, like that year when I broke into him, he wasn't there anymore then. But he said to me like, he goes like, me and Conor Whitney goes, yeah, Prep Superstars. Like, so I trained well. I was literally, I was only doing this.
You were the real deal. Like,
I was
just no
only
doubt
doing
about
this.
it.
So what happened was then I came in at the start of the season. And we played the first game against Burnley. We drew 1-1. I played the game, and the second game we brought Darren Roddy down from Celtic. And I remember we were going away to Crystal Palace, and I remember about Gars and David Wright and people like that. And he goes, the night before in the hotel, they were staying over, as even though they were home players, they were staying in the hotel. Happened the same as us. They played for us the year before, so I was chatting to them. And they were like, we had a pre-fucking thing all about you, your left wing running down from left back. It was their thing. I was like, team actually had a thing about me being a danger, like. Then I wasn't even starting. I was like, how have I not started this game? And all I could think of was I was on the bench going like, if I don't come on here and lose 1,200 quid. I was like,
oh no.
No, he brought me on for the last 10 minutes, whatever it was. Against Palace, we won the game. But after that, we had an international break, and with the 21s with Ireland, and we went away, and I think it was Turkey we were in, I think. And what happened was, we went over, and first thing we done was crossing and finishing. I tore my hamstring, so I got sent back home, to Ipswich, like, and I came back down. I remember walking through the corridor, and he came. And to be fair, if you speak to people, a lot of the thing was the fear of bumping into him in the corridor because you didn't know what mood he was going to be in.
Yeah.
If he caught you in wrong body language, you were done, like. So I was walking down the corridor, and he came out, and he scolded me. He goes, "Told you not to be going away with them. What are you going away with them for anyway?" About the Irish team, like, what are you going away with them for? Getting injured with them. He goes, "You won't kick a ball for 5 months with me. You're not going to kick a ball. Don't care for how bad it is." So I was like, all right. So just kept walking into the. Like, but this was so common.
Yeah.
You didn't even blink. It was just you were on the end of it this time. It could have been someone else another time. So ended up going into the physio. I had a tear in my hamstring. I was out for about 3 months. The team were doing well when I kind of got back in, as in back training. But then they kind of started to have a slump, and I got back in for a away game against Swansea, and our home game against Swansea came on, done well, and then the following week we went on our Manchester night out, and you know it was good night, good weekend. It was good. Them stories I suppose aren't for cameras now. It was good. Yeah. And then the following week I was training, I done well, and I was starting. It was against Leicester at home. And it was actually the snowstorm game. Liverpool were meant to be on telly But because there was actually about 2 games in all of England played. We were one of them. I'd say because Sky had made the effort to go to Coleman Road, it was been played.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been played. Remember, because I drove Healers to the Colin Healy to the game. We went to the training ground first, then we were driving for a pre-match, and then we were going to the ground for the match. Like I remember driving the snow, going like, be driving in this. Like should have been driving in that. Never mind game. So we got to the ground anyway, and we're playing the game. Like, and I actually had me left wing, and look, I had a good game considering it was on snow. Like I should have scored. I set up one. I done really well. And I remember he brought me off maybe 15 minutes to go, like, and he gave me a wink of approval. Like, I was like, the game. I remember we actually got pulled off about an hour into the game, and it was like whether it was going to go ahead or not.
I remember.
And I remember the referees came in, like, and I remember Keane was like, "This game, like, the game wasn't being called off. Like, we needed the 3 points. It wasn't being called. We were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
It wasn't being called off. They were dying for it to go. I remember I dropped with Hugh Wellens. I turned and he slipped and fell on the floor. And I tried to bend in the top corner, but I missed. And I remember Rich, like, he was getting up going, I can't hold my foot in here. And I goes, well, I can hold mine, like, so it's not that bad. He goes, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, he was, but we were 3-0 up. I could understand why they wanted it off. But that was the last game before Christmas. On Christmas Eve, we were training. Ball played, it was, I mean, icy beyond, like, really hard on the knee. Ball got played over the top, and I got caught underneath Darren O'D and Aaron Lee Barrett, the keeper. They both fell down on top of me, dislocated my shoulder. But I remember I was on the floor, I didn't know what happened. And Roy came over and he was like, don't show him that you're hurt, like, you know, don't show him you're hurt, like, get up and carry on. So I picked myself up and I'm running around and I'm like, something wrong with my arm, like, couldn't move it, like, you know. And I know that the strength and conditioning coach Antonio was like looking at me, he's like, there's something wrong with you. Like, I was like, yeah, but he told me not to show anyone I'm hurt. Like, I was like, how long's left? Like, he was like, it was about 5 or 10 minutes. Like, you're not gonna make 5 minutes here. Like, so like he whistled over to the gaffer and he was like, yeah, okay, go on. So like I walked over, and as I was walking, like, the physio caught me, like, and he was like, yeah, it's dislocated, like, and I was like, how have I just finally got in, finally back in the team, like, you know, because I was like, I was being spoke about, like, I was like where was he all the time, like, you know what I mean? I was after getting in, dislocated my shoulder, and I was out, and in between the time I was out and came back, he got sacked.
Yeah.
So we've got an Arsenal in the Carling Cup semi-final. I'll never ever forget my first chat with Paul Jewell. I was in because of my shoulder at the time, and I came back probably 4 or 5 weeks earlier than I should have been. Like, I should have been nowhere near back, and I came back early, like, and he said to me, oh, you're a Roy Keane guy, aren't you? That was his first words to me.
Jeez.
First words ever to me were, you're a Roy Keane guy. And
Paul's from Liverpool, and he's Scouse, is he?
Yeah. And I knew as soon as he said that, like, I'm an uphill battle here. But the thing was, he brought me on against Arsenal in the Emirates, and I actually done well. I think it makes song or so. I done well. Like,
that was the semis, wasn't it? Yeah.
We lost 3-0. We won the first game I was still injured for, but we lost the second game 3-0. Like, Van Persie, Fabregas, Wilshere, like, they hit ballers
playing against
out,
these boys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, like, they had ballers out. They beat us 3-0 at the Emirates, 60,000 people, like, unbelievable. Like, you know, it was like a carp, never forget playing on it. Like, I was like, this is just unbelievable. So I came thinking, like, maybe I'll have a chance, and that was the last squad he ever put me in. Never put me in the squad again.
And you had a good game. Like,
I done okay.
I know it was 3-0.
Yeah,
but
I didn't like I done like. I remember I retained possession when I was on well.
Yeah.
I tracked my run as well. I remember I think I cut inside. So I think they make some cut inside him, and I tried to score, went wide. Whatever.
I remember the ratings.
But I don't.
And your rating was good for Ipswich.
Yeah. I done, like, I thought I done well, but whatever it was, he pulled Lee Martin back from loan, and he I don't know what, maybe my face didn't fit. He said I was a Roy Keane guy, because I actually, when he got the sack, I ended up going, texting him and saying, look, I called your house and have a chat with you after he was gone from the team, because, like, at the end of the day, he did bring me over, and he was, you know, good to me for bringing me over, otherwise I wouldn't have got over there. So, like, I had a chat with him, and he was good, and he did say to me, if he ever went anywhere else, he'd bring me with me. And I always think you're luck, right? Because you always see players and managers that bring players to other clubs.
Yeah.
He would have been the person who would have brought me to other clubs, but I just didn't have the luck of him getting another club. Now, to be fair, I always think he didn't look after me contract wise.
Yeah. He
could have looked after me, whether it was longevity. He could have got more money. I should have got more money. I was worth more money. The 1200 2 years wasn't, because when he got the sack 6 months into my 2-year deal, I was always in trouble, because now Jewell knew I was out of contract in a year. He didn't have to worry about me. I was on shit money and I was out of contract in a year. He didn't have to worry about moving me on. If I was on 4 or 5 grand a week and he didn't want me, he has to move me on now.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
And it's so hard, because, like, you're probably done around 8-10 grand a month.
Yeah.
So when you think of it that way, like, it's a lot of money. Like, that's over 100k a year. Like, you know what I mean?
But even in football terms, if I'm sitting on the bench for 5 grand a week and I have 3 years left on the deal, he's not sitting me there because he needs to bring someone in to release that money.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting there on 1,200, my other 1,200 only comes if I play.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on 1,200 quid a week in a year. So that's nothing to them.
I know.
That's peanuts.
I know.
But $5 a week is all of a sudden 20 grand a month or
Yeah.
16 grand a month. No, we're talking different money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like he was in no pressure to move me on. So he was happy for me to sit there. And then in that summer, I Sean O'Driscoll, who I played against previously, was going to bring me to Doncaster. I think it was a 3-year deal. And
They were championships.
championship, because I played against them in the championship.
Yeah.
And
And a good club.
yeah.
Well,
At the time, they were actually very good. They're still big now. It's just when they're probably not in the championship, but they were a good club. Like Billy Sharp was there for years. Done unbelievable stuff there. But he wouldn't let me go there because he said if I go to another championship team and do well, it reflects badly.
Yeah.
For someone to have that power over you is criminal. So then Crawley came in League Two. I was like, I don't want to go to League Two, but they had good money in them for what they were.
Was Clarkey there at that time? Billy Clark?
No, he was there the following year.
So he always praised.
Yeah.
He said they were a good club.
When I went down there with Steve Evans and G Evans, who I met. So I went down there. I played pre-season games, done well, scored a couple of goals, played against Palace, done well, and then I got offered they said, look, we're going to offer you something. I was like, perfect. Went back to Ipswich. Sitting there 2 days later going like, why aren't they gone? Like, what's going on? And it just June told me, fell through. I was like, what do you mean it fell through? Like, I don't understand. Like, it was only the year later because actually when I came back home for 6 months for City that year, I actually went over to Crawley on trial because Sean O'Driscoll had gone there that year. That's when Clarkey was there. And when I went there, the same fella picked me up from the airport, and I said, what happened last year? Like, I agreed to come. Like, I didn't give a shit what money it was. And he went, yeah, your agent was asking for fucking loads of money. Like, so we told him fuck off. I was like, but why does no one ask me? Why, like, me playing? Why did no one say to me, your agent is doing this? Sort it out, like. Do you know, I lost out like, of a thing because of that. Yeah. And then the next time I went to Crawley, again, went on trial. I was with Clarkey there, done well. We played against, I think it was Millwall. I think it was Millwall on the Saturday. And again, I was flying home, spoke to the gaffer, and he said, no, we're going to get something done. Go home and get your stuff. I was like, okay, perfect. So I went home. I'll never forget, I was out playing Mahon golf course. And I was thinking, and one of the lads texted me saying, Sean O'Driscoll's gone 1 to 6 to get the Forest job. But I texted him back going, sorry, he's literally only in Crawley a week. Or like 3 weeks, he's only there since pre-season. He's not going to leave to go to Forest. But I didn't think contractually he would leave to go. But he did.
He did, yeah.
He left and went to Forest, and they didn't uphold my contract. So the contract I had then was torn up. It wasn't, because I'd gone back home. I was waiting for the confirmation to go back over, and this was the Monday or Tuesday, so I think I was waiting until Wednesday, Thursday anyway. That was the agreed. I would be home for a few days, and that was me then done. I never want.
It's disheartening, like, you know what I mean? And like you look at all them factors. First of all, the time of your injuries. First of all, at Ipswich, June coming in. Like, if Roy stayed there for another 2-3 years, like, it's probably fair to say, Shane, that. You would have got a better contract, I suppose. Like, obviously, if you signed that 3-year contract, like, you had your set price, but like, you would have probably played, you know what I mean, another 90, 100 games at Ipswich, and then you were young. That's the key factor. You were so young that you could have got to move back to the Premier League, perhaps, or, you know what I mean, join the top 3 championship team. It's a key factor. Like, when you take all the factors into it, the manager, as you said, the injuries, the bad agent. Like, if he, you know what I mean, if he went with Thatch there that time,
he would look after me 100%.
Yeah,
I'd be still in England playing now if I was a player.
Yeah,
100%.
And like,
I reached a level where I was doing well. I mean, one of the scouts. I mean, West Brom were scouting me.
Yeah, and they're massive.
They were Premier League club at the time. They were scouting me, so like they were coming to watch me play because after they sent scouts to watch play, like they were coming to watch me play.
Yeah.
So like I was obviously whether they were going to do it, no, but I had a Premier League team watching me. Yeah, and like, you know. And then within 6 months, I have no one because it is that much of a narrow window you have from playing and no one because it's so narrow. Like even Luton, I could have went to Luton 10 times over, but they were in the conference. There was no way I would have went to Luton back then and see where they are now. Do you know? Yeah. Like it's like, and the problem I have though genuinely is that when I came home, I was never the same. Yeah. When I came home to City, I was never the same. Colin Healy was probably, because I could have went to Rovers, Derry, I met them all. I didn't want to come home, but it was the only way they were going to pay me up. to get out. I just needed to get away from Ipswich, like, because I couldn't.
And sort of, like, I know you didn't want to come home, but sometimes it's all right to come home. Like, as you
That's
say,
the right mentality. If you have the right mentality, I didn't. When I came home, my head went. I was never the same player. No matter what I done here, people say you done well with Ramblers or Waterford or whatever. I was like, yeah, but I was still a shell of a person I used to be. I was just. But
you were a perfectionist, as you say. Like for me, it's like, fuck, you played at Ipswich. You know what I mean? Like, if I play one game at Ipswich, I'd spend my whole life, I play that one game. But like, the fact you've done it, like, the fact, you know what I mean? You come through the ranks of Liverpool, go straight to a championship team, you know what I mean? Have West Brom, all these big teams looking at you, you know what I mean? You're a perfectionist, so I know when you come home, then obviously it's scary, because it's not like you're a failure in the sense of coming home. Like, you're like Shamrock Rovers. First of all, they're a massive club in Ireland, the biggest in the country.
Kenny was manager at the time, like.
Yeah, like, you have all these teams after you in Ireland, right? You probably have offers, obviously, League 2, League 1, but like, you came home, and obviously you're going to go through a whirlwind then of emotion, because it's like you're fucking back. Your parents are in front of you. It's great to be around the parents and all the family and friends, but it's just like, you've been away for a couple of years. It's like, fucking hell. And obviously that comes then with the downfall of, like, going through anxiety, depression, all this fucking stuff, Shane. And that's a horrible thing, man, you know?
Yeah, like, because, like, I suppose it was healers was a big part of me going to City, because I got on great with Colin. I would looked up to Colin a lot, like, you know, because, like,
was he good with you at Ipswich?
His professionalism, his the way he carried himself, the way he trained. He never really let any situation get to him. He was, I think, like, he was just a really good role model, I suppose, to have. Like, he'd always kind of big you up. I suppose he wasn't there because he was on loan a lot as well, but
he was a quiet lad too, was he?
He lived in an apartment below me, you see. Like, his little lad would come play football sometimes if Colin came up. I remember lads, like, three foreign lads burst through my door one time when I wasn't there. My missus, like, what's going on here? When I came back, I take Colin, like, what's going on here? Colin was up by, like, where are they? Like, for a year, like, you know, like, he was like, you know, he was like, he's a really,
like, a big brother, like,
really good fella, like, I mean, and his wife, like, God rest her soul, like, you know, she was a lovely woman, like, a lovely woman. Anytime I came in contact with her a few times, because we lived in the same apartment, but he was just an incredible person to feed off and see, you know. And I think I probably, when I came back to City, I would have let him down in regard to, because he would have I would have been very professional over there. I was done the right things in the gym. I always worked hard. I was done well in running drills, even when things weren't going well, and I was probably falling down the aisle. I was still very professional. I always done the right things. When I came down, I would have let him down because my head wasn't there. I was completely gone. I couldn't play. I didn't know. It's like I forgot how to play football.
But there was no luck there, Shane. You look at the injuries, first of all. Like, you look at yet again, like, it's some people have a pattern in football. There's players out there that are absolutely shy. Now, I have no right to say that because I'm not a footballer, but there's players out there that are half decent, but they have a good career because they have the good agents, they have the good connection with the manager. There might be a lick arse, you know what I mean? It could be all in factors, you know what I mean?
Problem, actually. I never learned how to be a lick arse.
It would just be an Ori, like, you know what I mean? But it's like coming home, you have that whirlwind. It's a horrible time, I suppose, coming home after, you know what I mean? Fucking playing with Ipswich, and then you're going from Jewel coming in, who's obviously got a reputation of being Paul Jewel.
He was horrible.
I've heard stories about him
because the way he used to treat us. If the first team lost, we would run. Nothing to do with us. The way he'd speak to you was like you were dirt off the shoe. Even me, particularly, because like I'll give you an example of confidence. When I played reserve football, it was the easiest thing I could ever play. If even when say I came back from injury with that time before I started playing again with Roy that time, I used to end up on the right wing scoring goals. I just thought it was the easiest thing ever. Then when I after what happened with Jewel, after a few months later, if you watch me play in a reserve game, you think I was a fellow who was only let out for the day. Couldn't play. I was awful. Even so much so that he actually stopped playing reserve. He said, like, just don't want to play, we'll play a kid there instead.
But you think they'd help you enough? They're managers, right? No. They know they're being footballers. Now, Jules didn't have a great football career in the sense of a player. You wouldn't say it was fucking, a marvellous player, but like, decent manager. Obviously, he was that week, and I remember that.
He done well, yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's you think they'd know you're dumps? They'd fucking help you, like.
There was he went to he wasn't a nice person, like, and he was nice to some people, not nice to why you can get on board with Keane, right? You can say what you want about him, but he will treat everyone the same.
Yeah. Where
Jewel wouldn't. He would, lads he likes can do what they want, and he's coming for you all the time. Where Roy was hard but fair.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I always think you respect someone who is fair.
Yeah.
Now, has had his mad moments like with Johnny Walters, like
they're still going at it. We'll see a boxing match there in the near future with two of them. But
but look, you know,
Johnny's mad as well. Like,
Johnny is, you know, telling the truth. Like,
yeah.
Do you know, like from my understanding and memory, because I was there during that time. Like,
I think Delaney said something along the lines of Keane as well. You mentioned once or twice as well. Like.
Johnny Walters, you know, came out with flying colours in that situation because he's not telling any lies. Like, he didn't shirk to nobody. He was there ready if it was to happen.
Fucking imagine that.
So
imagine that.
I know people are maybe, you know, I've heard stories of it not being that case, but
no, I've spoken off camera. I've spoken to people as well. They've said similar stuff. It's just Roy's Roy, and I suppose the fact that I wouldn't say he's untouchable, but look, as a player, he's done it all. As a manager, he kind of half done it at the start. Obviously,
I think he understood how to deal with players that weren't at the level of you know United. Like because he when he joined in boxes and Ronaldo's and stuff, he was still very, very good. You know, and I think maybe players weren't up to that level, and maybe that's why he struggled to deal with that. That's why I was always surprised when I saw him at Ireland with Damo and John. Like,
I know. Fucking shit's going to hit.
Told me like from Ipswich that they were going to be together again. I thought not a hope.
They looked like they tried to mend it, but obviously they didn't last long. To be fair,
like, you know, I thought it would have been hard, especially Johnny's one, because, you know, Johnny was excellent for us. He was brilliant for me. Played left wing in front of me a lot of games. Like, helped me out like humongously. Made my job so easy to try and play left back in front behind him. Like,
some man though, some man, and like. I suppose, look, we'll talk, like, literally be back in there, and obviously, look, there was a number of clubs you play, but obviously, you know, you've done very well at Cove Ramblers. I said it a while back. I don't know why. You know, I know why you're still not playing. Look, there's a different story, but like, you know, being back at Cork City, being at Cove, you know, there was the loan moves to Longford. You wanted to be closer to work in Dublin. Obviously, you were working in Dublin. What was it like being back home in Ireland, and, like, you know what I mean? It's towards the last couple of months of your career as a footballer with Cove. Were you enjoying football?
No. I tell you, when I came back, City hated every minute, and Rovers hated every minute of it. Don't know why he actually went up to Rovers. I don't know why Kenny brought me up there, but I hated every minute. He then tried to sign me for Dundalk.
I remember seeing that.
And I said. If you remember the year before, Dundalk nearly went bust. So, like, there was no way I was going to Dundalk. So I actually had no one to go to after that. But, like, I was like, I didn't want to play anyway. But I was like, no, I'm not going to Dundalk. Sure, Dundalk went on through Dane Massey. He actually ended up instead of me. But, like, look, he's done really well though. But what happened then was I hated Rovers. I ended up not doing a thing for a year. Look, I gambling. Gambling took over. With my real bad problems then. That have continued on.
Was it just the gambling? Like, was there late nights, all that kind of stuff, or just gambling?
I wouldn't be. I drink. I go for a drink, but I wouldn't be a drinker. I'd never touched a drug or a cigarette in my life, so that wouldn't be my thing. I went, gambling hard. I suppose if I. A small picture for you from, like, when I came home in 2012. At the start of 2012, I was playing professional football in England. At the end of 2012, I wasn't hanging around with any of my friends anymore. I broke up with my girlfriend. I no longer play soccer. So I literally lost everything in that period of time.
Absolute whirlwind.
So I was lost completely, and then I ended up, I think I gambled everything I had, and then all of a sudden in January I'm selling my car, my Merc, I'm selling pennies, I'm selling everything.
But did that come out of the blue, Shane? Like, were you always like a flutter, or was it just?
What happened was, obviously, when I used to play, it happened when I really started getting bad was, I think, when Jules came in, because I was always involved in match day squads or 3 o'clock, whatever. And then when I was completely kind of out of that 3 o'clock thing, I started gambling at 3 o'clock. So I would use gambling 3 to 5 that was my new thing on a Saturday. Then all of a sudden that came to a Tuesday of Champions League night, Wednesday night, and then it became Monday night football, Thursday night football, then it branched out to tennis and, I don't know, basketball, horses, thing. Like, it went to everything, like, I mean, it's destroyed everything. Everything in my life. Like, you know, like, I go back to the football now, I'll finish with it, but, like, I just, you know, I just like to help someone in my position now, because, like, I was given a lot of good opportunities. Like, I mean, I've had jobs wise, good money. I mean, Waterford gave me very good money a few years ago playing there. I've always been in kind of a good job. But, like, what I've done now is, like, kept shutting away from everyone that's ever tried to help me. And, like, I've ruined everything now in my life. Like even now, if you look at me now,
Yeah.
like where now I because of what the gambling kind of person made me, it's completely changed me.
Yeah.
So actually, at the moment, I'm not allowed to see my kids.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very, very difficult. So you know, like 9 days without seeing them, and I have a partner who has been probably amazing through it and should have walked away a long time ago.
Yeah.
And didn't, and kept giving me chances, and then obviously the gambling has put me into other things that have now probably been the last straw, and it's not the person I am.
Yeah. Like first hand, like speaking to you, first of all, you're one of the nicest guys you can fucking meet. And I'm not saying gambling's like because my like I kind of grew up around that shit. Like I never like I remember doing the odd accumulator like for a five or whatever. Like, but I've seen like family members, you know what I mean, being gamblers and losing a week's fucking wages. They get paid on a Friday. It's gone on a Saturday morning. But like, you're a great guy, and like these difficulties. I remember Roy Keane. I'm not going to go into Roy Keane mentioned Liam Miller. Liam Miller had a bad problem. No one knew that. We were at a press conference and he mentioned that. He said, I just wanted, like, this was his actual game, the charity game for Liam Miller. He said, like, Liam was a great guy, but, like, he was no angel at the same time and he had these issues and stuff. But, like, there's so many footballers, that, you know what I mean, don't get to see the kids that go through the struggles, that they get hooked on gambling. It's such a common thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It must be a scary thing, but
Yeah, like, I mean, for me personally, I use it as an escape to start off with, because it would block out anything. And I think that's what I continue to do. So I became quite numb over time. I didn't feel any pain. I suppose you know as well, like with yours, like kids are the only thing that will impact me. And I don't think I've ever suffered consequences for what I've done with the gambling.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this time, like, I am going to go and get help. I probably will go somewhere in the clinic, because if I don't, I'm not at home now. I mean, you look at me now, I'm 33, and I've done a lot of things, like, but I might sleep in my car, I might go to a hotel. Someone like it's not where I should be, and the chances I've been given in life, I shouldn't have ended up here.
Yeah. And
I mean, when you finally hit rock bottom? I thought I hit rock bottom up in the north when I came from Portadown in 2013 when I tried to take a load of tablets.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I woke up, got sick, woke up, and then I thought that'd be rock bottom. I thought maybe other situations be rock bottom, and last week was rock bottom. And like there was a night last week when I remember I got on Tuesday during the week. There was Sunday night last week, and I just thought I wasn't sure I was going to make it to Monday. Yeah. And it was just pictures of the kids kept me there. There's only 2 times in my life I ever felt that it was a time that I might not make it. Yeah. Obviously that time when I tried, and this time I didn't try, but I had the intention. And I get Monday, and every day I just keep saying, can I get to the next day? Yeah. And when I asked you about this, it was because I just don't think people understand. I'm not going to go into much, and it's just like, I mean, I spent the last 10 days crying every day. I mean, it's crying all morning. That's all. Well,
you're not a man unless you cry, Shane. First of all, you know what I mean.
I haven't been able to really function, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, all I wanted to do with people was them. Like, my parents forced me to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting. Yeah, yeah. I say forced because it was forced, but I wouldn't have went. My first one about 12 years ago, and there was a man inside there, and he talked about. I still remember him, and he talked about losing his family and his house and all this stuff. Yeah. And I was sitting there going like, the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is nothing to do with me. I'm 22 years of age, 21, whatever I was, 22 maybe. I have nothing. This has no relevance to me. But if you fast forward now 11 years, I'm actually that same person. Yeah. And I hope there's this person here listening, and that they will actually say, no, it will happen. Yeah. Because you've no control over it. Yeah. And I don't look at myself as a bad person, but that makes me an extremely bad person. Like, I'm only gamble free since Monday, Tuesday. I'm only 2 days off it. I gambled up till Sunday, like. Yeah. I woke up Monday morning. I said, look, enough's enough. I'll try. And I've been able to stay off it for 3-4 months at a time. I've never been able to stay off longer. Yeah. That's why I made the decision. Look, I have to go and get help. I don't think she let me see the kids. Yeah. But it's maybe do other things. It's maybe like all I want to do is chase things. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing's. I can't sit still. I'm never satisfied with that, and I have to chase something all the time. Yeah. And I've that football. You know, the thing I do, like I'm trying to. Yeah. Yeah. It. Which will be big. It's going to be big. I'm trying to do it, but I can't ever put my full focus into it. I mean, I done a camp last week that I thought was very good, and people always tell me it's very good, but I can't. You can't see it that way. Yeah. I'm so like I wouldn't think I do well myself, and I'm so conscious myself, and I always beat myself down. It's probably the gambling that does that, but I can't put my effort into this. Like, see what you like. I always genuinely know, right? I'm not saying this. I look at your thing and I think it's amazing. Like, look, the WWE stuff, the UFC, like, you're meeting people like that. Yeah. you know, it's
But
off the scale.
I'll be honest, Shane. Like, there's days I don't think about that. Do you know, I've been doing this stuff for 8 years, and I'm like, I'm looking for the next big thing as well. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like my fix is like trying to do the next big thing, and like I obviously, like, you know what I mean, I 3 kids, you know what I mean, I'm lucky, you know what I mean, that I have a good relationship with the kids and stuff. My first son's from a previous relationship. At that time I didn't know what the fuck was going on in my life, and that's the truth. Like, I was like, oh, you know, first family's gone for 2 years, you know, I didn't know what to do. But sports matters that actually saved me in the sense of, like, you know what I mean, like I was actually in a good place. It was just with the whole, like, you know, my first son, you know what I mean, you're like, you know what I mean, I've made things harder for him, and I was seeing him all the time, and it was equally split. But it's just one of them things where, like, if I didn't have sports matters, I wouldn't know what I was doing. That kept me busy. The cameraman Phil kept me busy, and it's one of them things. I just got through it, and I'm in a good place. But, like, I know where you're coming from. Like people say it to me all the time. Like, I could like be at work and say, oh, you were with Eddie Hearn yesterday, interviewing him. I know you're working today doing something else. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a hobby, like. Yeah. But no, it's not a fucking hobby. Like, you're good at it. Like, see, it's trying to find that balance. You know what I mean? It's like, I'd love to go to Dublin in the morning. I have opportunities to go to Dublin. I have opportunities to go to Manchester to work. You can't when you have a family. I can't just get up and go. Yeah. I have that stumbling block, and I have to, you know, I'll try and balance things. So all I'm saying to you, my man, is that, like, you have something good first of all about what you're doing here, right? I will never know what it's like to have a gambling addiction, because it's easy for me to look at it and say I don't understand it.
I know it's
I can never understand. It's a hard thing. I've seen my own family members. It's ruined them. It's ruined relationships with their partners, their kids, as they got older. But, like, you know what I mean. I'll never understand it. It's hard, and I can only imagine how hard it is for you right now. But, like, you know what I mean. I know who you are. Like, you know what I mean. It's not a nice thing, and I just hope. First of all, you get the help you need. There should be someone there to help you. I think as an ex fucking player, there should be something there as well.
I think there'd be.
I think if you reached out to the right people, Shane, as well, you will get the appropriate help. But there should be more done for players. And Georgie O'Callaghan said this to me one day. Georgie, there's no secret. Georgie had a mad time in between his career at Ipswich. Fucking contracts terminated left, right, and centre, chased out of countries, and he said it was nothing set up for him. And he said pretty much one of the reasons he was so fucking mad was because of the way he was handled by agents, by football, promises, broken promises. Yeah, it does it's fucking legit, Shane. And, like, that's exactly what's happened to you.
It does mess with you, like, because I couldn't get over not playing in England for a year. I think that I gambled to try and escape that I wasn't. I couldn't get over not being there. Yeah. Because I never understood why. Because it's different when you go over to England. They say 4% of people are back within the first, or 96% of people are back within 4 people stay over. Yeah. I'd actually then made it to the next 2% have got into a first team. Yeah. So, and especially I done it in a time that was a lot harder. There was no social media side where you were able to, there was nothing like that.
Well, bare Twitter. The Twitter first.
I left the fortune over that too, so I had to pay him back money. I actually thought I was sending that as a direct message. I didn't know how it worked. I thought it was a direct message to a person I knew, and it was on my feed. And then I remember my girlfriend texted me going, "What is on your feed?" Like, I didn't know how to get it back off my feed. It was a disaster. Look, it was naive, I suppose.
Listen, you look at these teams now. Look, fuck's sake,
for it to happen.
That's a pinch of salt out to what's out there now. Yeah,
but like, I mean, it's just I don't want, like, I'm not even saying it for someone to feel sorry for me, because everything I've done, the situation I'm in now, is because I've done it myself. There's no one. It's all because of myself. I 100%.
But you will, Shane. You're obviously going to seek for help. Like, obviously,
I have. I spoke to this week. I spoke to, I don't know if you know Keith Tracy. Don't mind me saying his name, but, like, I've had a conversation with him that was very good. He helped me.
Good football player as well.
Unbelievable. But he helped me quite a lot.
Is the help in Cork? It's limited enough, is it? It's Cork. You want to probably get out of Cork to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, because like I've the counsellor that I'm dealing with now is actually not from Cork. I'm doing it over Zoom. Because any counsellor I've gone to here, and I've tried for help before, but it's never really resonated with me. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never had a consequence of losing the kids. Yeah. So if someone says to you, "Gamble, or you're never going to see your kids again," there is only one. That is that is a sobering experience. Yeah. So, like, you know, I believe, like, it's my second day. I believe I won't do it today. I could if I wanted, but I won't. Then I am hopefully I will be in a place in the next week or two, and then it will give me the tools to not do it over, because I can not do it for a few months, but I can't prolong it, because once you do one, I can't describe the feeling.
Have you manifested your alternatives though? Like in the sense of like, do you think if you were outside of Ireland, and obviously the UK, there's a chance that you won't do it? Is it the case? Like, I know the kids is the big factor here, like, and it's no about the kids is everything, Shannon, and you're a fucking great dad, and it's obviously a hard thing, like, you know what I mean, when you have kids, because that's the thing that will keep you here. But it's, do you manifest anything, like, you know, obviously, like, if you're really busy, so just say if you're coaching kids all day and you're part of like your own structure of, like, you know what I mean, coaching, you know, one-on-ones. Would that keep you busy enough to keep your mind away from it? Or could it just be? Yeah. Is it just, you know what I mean? What would it be?
Like it's boredom. And it's when you're like, it's that problem of sitting still and not having something to chase after, whether it's dad or whether it's trying to text someone or something. Like it's like, what can I do here now? Like if I don't have money to bet, how can I chase somewhere else or do something else? Like it's like you're never happy. Like I'm not happy in my own skin. Is the best way I can put it. I'm not comfortable with myself. You know, like even now, like I wouldn't be as fit as I was because I can't find energy to go and run or go and get fit. Like it's small things. It's small things like that, you know. And you know, I suppose I've no one to blame but myself. But I would love that if I could help somebody, because I see people and videos that I wouldn't be great in social media, but I see TikToks and I see people on videos about gambling and things like fucking, like, they make a lot of sense, and I'd like to think maybe if one person ever heard this, they go, yeah, maybe I won't, and maybe
it's definitely going to make a difference, Shane. Like, because it's part two of our interview, but like it's a very common thing with ex-footballers. I've spoken to loads of people. Jesus Christ, like I won't name names, but I've spoken to a lot of people. And I know George O'Callaghan is one guy that has told me it's a similar thing. Ex-footballer, fucked about in England because he was the Irish lad, had all the potential in the world, came home, done really well, went back to Ipswich, fucking contract terminated, went to Brighton, contract terminated, Yeovil, contract terminated, and that's all down to bad managers, you know, misguidance, this and that. It's very common. I'm sure a lot of players will relate to what you're saying. I mean ex-players, because like a lot of the players today are protected. They have the protection. They have good people around them. I think there's a lot of more people behind them, you know, like, you know, the kind of the vet and all that kind of stuff. They know how to guide these players to keep them away from stuff, how to save their money, how to keep them occupied outside of football. Well, you didn't have them things, and you had to do everything from yourself. Like, as joining Liverpool was a fucking whirlwind, as in, like, you done the trials, you shined, you know, Highway was, you know, key behind all that. He wanted you there, and you know what I mean. You didn't have that proper guidance. Everything was like, as you say, you were always playing catch up. But I generally believe, first of all, I'm not just saying it because you're next to me. You're one of the best players to come out of this country. There's not many people that make it. You've made it, in the sense, like, you know, you played at Ipswich, you know, starting off Liverpool, great player, like, with Cove Rammer's fucking dominant.
Yeah, I should have said about Cove. But
the League of Ireland, we know exactly with the League of Ireland, Shane. It's we know what you've done. Like, you know, your performances on the pitch were unreal. Like, people were comparing you to, like, I remember someone saying, like, Shane is the equivalent of Patsy Friend in the League of Ireland, where Patsy should have played with Juventus and this and that. You're that guy, you know what I mean? But, like, you're a straight shooter boy. There's no bullshit about you. It's you know what I mean? You're going through struggles at the moment. It's unfortunate you're going through them, but a lot of that comes down to the guidance of you know what I mean, what's happened to you throughout the last couple of years. It's it'd make you a man by the age of 25, in the sense of, like, you had a lot of growing up to do fast. You're in a dark place in England because of what's going on. A lot of bullshit, a lot of bullies. There's a lot of in football. There's a lot of cliquish kind of shit going on. You know what I mean? But it's easy to see why, you know, you know what I mean, you've struggled, you know what I mean, there's been a lot of depression, but you'll come through the other side, boy, and that's no lie. You will. Like, first of all, you got a big product, you need to keep that going, keep yourself busy, you know, look, manifest your summer camps, you know what I mean, one-on-ones. A lot of Cork lads are actually doing well in England at the moment, trying to get that back after their off-season. Walk with them, you know, talk to them, because your guidance will mean a lot to them, and I think they'd want to listen to them. With
Cork City, the coaching side is what will probably keep me going. Like tonight now, I'm like this training, and like the under 17s Cork City, it's in a professional environment. That's what will help me, and the one-on-ones and stuff might just get me through this thing, because I know I've altered my life as regards my family forever because of what I've done. But if I can just become a better person for them, and I know through the coaching, it gives me that fire in my stomach, where I didn't have anything for years. That's why I stopped playing, because I couldn't resonate anymore. I couldn't do it. I stopped playing at 27, 28. I was way too young.
Which is crazy, I know.
But coaching is what what is giving me that fire.
Yeah.
If I could just deal with the other demon, I know I'd be able to give a lot more in that regard. You know.
Yeah,
I do believe that.
You're a good person, Shane, and like as you say, look, you shouldn't be punished for this team, but unfortunately you are being punished. And look, as you say, look, we you know what I mean. You're a good guy. I know you're going to come through the other side, boy. There's no doubt about that, boy. You should still be playing with Cork City or someone. I'll keep saying that. You're good enough, and look, I'm sure if you put them aside 6 months of training, you'd probably get back into the City team.
I get on the training squad.
Definitely. Well, listen, it's an honour as always, boy. Look, we'll do another catch up soon. But we appreciate your time as always. You know, it's going to help a lot of people out there. And if anyone wants to reach out to Shane, you're more than welcome to. He's not as active on social media, but he will get back to you if you find him on Instagram. But look, I'm sure all these platforms will appear soon. I'm going to push him to push these platforms. And then again, look, this guy's a legend. It's an honour to have him here today.
Thanks very much. Thank you.